getting everybody to actually believe that indeed government is ready to finance sports and also make sure we get the right infrastructure. Let's listen to the Honorable Minister yesterday and listen to exactly what he said on the floor of Parliament yesterday.
Mr. Speaker, an amount of 200 million Ghana cedis has also been allocated for the construction of mini stadiums in 3 regions. And finally, Mr. Speaker, an amount of 150 million Ghana cedis has been allocated for the Black Stars to participate in the World Cup.
And my good friends who speak Twi, there's something they say. They say, Kakum, yajinwa kukwenu. So, as I read, Fidelis, did I say it well? You see, Imota, did I say it well? You see, Kakum, yajinwa kukwenu. The minister said it, and so just as he said, we presented it. But let me just chip this in. Let me just bring this in. The 150 million Ghana cedis that has been allocated to the Black Stars for FIFA World Cup, or some have rounded it up to about $13 million. The budget or the estimates are normally made to cover the entire duration of the competition, as well as pre-tournament campaign. It must be clear that before the Black Stars begin their campaign in Mexico, USA, Canada, they would have to prepare. So even before the FIFA advance comes in, government would have to be responsible, take responsibility, and take care of all those preparatory costs. So pre-tournament campaign, the friendly matches we may call at our instance, we may have to take care of some of the expenses that would happen in there. If we have to travel to our base to go and camp, all of those expenses will be taken care of by the state. Now, there are other incidentals that may come up alongside. All of those ones will be budgeted for and taken care of. Now, tournament proper, of course, FIFA would have to take care of certain things by responsibility. But again, in terms of maybe delegation size or other matters that may arise, incidentals, other expenses that we would have to bear as a national team, again, that will be budgeted for and taken care of by the state. Now, winning bonuses, per diems, all of those amounts, all of those figures will be taken care of within this 150 million Ghana cedis. And to a certain extent, I'm sure appearance fees will be considered as and when the need arises. Now, what is important here is that if the Black Stars make it all the way to the final, this budget estimate is expected to take care of the entire participation of the entire duration of the competition whilst the Black Stars last. So if the Black Stars make it all the way to the finals, this is what we are expecting that they will spend. If the Black Stars go all the way to the finals, this is the estimate of their participation all through from the group stage to the round of 64 to the round of 32 to round of 16 to the semi-finals to the finals. You get it. So if the Black Stars exit at the group stage, definitely what has been spent up to the end of the group stage is all that would be taken out of this 150 million. The rest of the money that has not been spent will be returned to the state coffers. I think that is important that some of these things are made clear so that nobody thinks that the tournament is going to spend the entire $13 million or the entire 150 million Ghana cedis. And if you remember, during the 2022 World Cup, the estimate was around $8 million, and we exited at the group stage. We spent $5.1 million. That was what happened in 2022. And if you take your minds back to 2016, the budget was around 16 million. That was the Germany World Cup. It was increased to 19 million in 2010, and South Africa, and then it was $9 million in 2014. Now, not all those monies were spent as budgeted or as estimated. So it must be on record that these are not absolute figures or actual figures. They are estimates. The actual spend would be calculated at every point in in the competition, depending on where the Black Stars get to. And after their exit, we'll do the reconciliation and we'll know exactly how much was actually spent on the campaign. So these are just estimates. This is just a budget. Nobody should think that we are going to spend all our money on the Black Stars at the World Cup. And talking about the Black Stars, they will be in action at 10 o'clock this morning. They'll be playing against the Blue Samurai of Japan. We'll be talking about that in a bit. Let me remind you, Nathan Kwa will be joining us on the show this morning. He'll be joining us live from Morocco. A lot of things happened yesterday in the 2026 World Cup qualification playoff semi-finals. Two interesting games took place yesterday: Nigeria versus Gabon. The Indomitable Lions versus the Leopards of Congo. Cameroon would not be present at next year's World Cup, thanks to a late Chancellor Mbemba goal. That was heartbreaking. That must have been heartbreaking for the Cameroonians. The goal went in the 91st minute. And it was a real poacher's finish from Chancellor Mbemba to ensure that DR Congo's hopes of making it to the World Cup for the second time since 1974 is still alive. And in 1974, they participated in the World Cup as Zaire. And for the Super Eagles, they overcame a very stubborn Gabon team. Yesterday, the Panthers of Gabon, they beat them by 4-1. The scoreline may be flattering, but it was not an easy contest yesterday. After a pulsating 90 minutes, the game was tied at 1-1. Per the competition rules, the game had to travel into extra time. And the Nigerians showed superiority in the extra time to bag 3 unanswered goals in there to ensure that they progressed to the final of the playoff by 4-1. We ran the rule about what happened yesterday. Nathan Kwa will be joining us, and my brother joining us from Sporty FM in Kumasi, Michael Asaribwedu, would also be joining us on the show this morning. Now, let me bring you a bit of understanding as to exactly what's happening with the playoffs. So this is how it works. The winner of the CAF playoffs, or the World Cup qualification playoffs that's been organized by CAF, or the Confederation CAF, would actually be participating in an inter-confederation playoff. So that would be a bigger playoff. That would feature 6 countries. And that playoff will be happening in North America in March 2026. There are 2 slots available. That would be position number 47 and position number 48 for the 48-team FIFA World Cup in 2026. Now, if Nigeria win, they get to play in the Inter-Confederation playoffs. Now, if DR Congo also win, they get a chance to play in the Intercontinental playoff. So it's still not a straight road for them, for whoever wins this Sunday's final. Now, this is how it continues. Now, New Caledonia, who lost the final of the OFC's automatic qualifying tournament, and Bolivia, who finished 7th in CONMEBOL's round-robin qualifying format, have already qualified for the playoffs. So that makes it 2 teams there. Now in Asia, United Arab Emirates will take on Iraq over 2 legs to qualify for the playoffs. Now the first leg finished 1-1 in Abu Dhabi on Thursday, ahead of the return leg on November 18 in Basra. So one of Iraq or United Arab Emirates would qualify as part of the playoffs. So that's another one team there. Now, as host confederation, CONCACAF will present will present two teams in the playoffs. So they will be represented twice in the playoff. So by the best runner-up from the third round of qualifying, and yes, currently Curacao and Costa Rica are the teams occupying those positions. So the third round of qualifying would have the winner and the two best runner-ups play in that particular playoff. So possibly Curacao and Costa Rica would be the other two joining. Then it brings us to Africa, where one of our African teams would also be part, bringing it up to 6. Now, after the 6 participants are confirmed, they will be split into seeded and unseeded teams and into 2 separate pathways. The 2 highest FIFA ranked sides will be the seeded sides and move straight into the final of each pathway. The unseeded teams will consist of a pair of single leg semi-finals with 2 winners advancing to the finals. The two final winners will be the 47th and the 48th nations at the 2026 Men's World Cup. It's fairly simple. So it's not a strict route for DRC or Nigeria. There's still a lot of work to be done before they progress to the FIFA World Cup in 2026. But let me bring in my guests and let me bring in my men who are going to do the analysis for me on the show this morning. Coach Ebenezer Sifa is in studio with me. Coach, good morning to you and welcome to Sporty Breakfast.
Good morning. Raymond.
It's good to have you.
It's a pleasure coming here.
Right.
It's a big house, so
yes.
Always good to be here.
Yes, we'll talk a lot. We'll talk a lot more about the Black Stars and the Ghana Premier League in a bit. But good to have you. Good to have you.
We also talk about your main friend. I can see Nathan just being from far.
Yes. Nathan.
You're going to talk about Shapiro, eh? Shapiro is playing Mediama, so
yes,
it's coming live. So you're going to watch
Shapiro is in action this weekend. But let me welcome Nathan and Michael Asarigwedu. Michael. Good morning to you and welcome to Sporty Breakfast.
Well, good morning, Raymond. It's great to be on the show.
Great. Joining us all the way from Morocco is my wingman who has disappeared, my wingman who has left me on my own, enjoying the sights and sounds of Morocco. Nathan Guao, good morning to you and welcome.
Hi, Ray. Good morning. Good morning, everybody in the studio.
Right. Well, let me start with you, Nathan, because you are the center of the action. You are the heart of everything that's happening in Morocco. You know, just take us through. I know you were at the game yesterday, the Gabon Nigeria game. Let's relive everything that happened yesterday. Take us through the moment before the game, in game, post game. You know, just give us, you know, a bit of everything that happened yesterday in Morocco.
Okay, so yesterday was a very interesting day. When I left my apartment with colleague, Nigerian, Poja, guys know him as Poja Media, very popular photographer, content creator. So we left and we're trying to find and we left with a third colleague, also another Nigerian photographer, Victor. So we were trying to find the stadium. So this is a bit of an adventure. So we first went to the Nigerian team hotel to capture their team walk. I'm sure we shared pictures on that on our social. So they did the team walk. It was for about 15, 20 minutes. They went around the hotel and came back and all. Some fans got to take some pictures before they left and all of that. And then we were trying to find the stadium. So we said we were going to the stadium way ahead of match day. And then in entering the location or the destination, because we're trying to catch an Uber, we entered the wrong destination. So we went to another stadium. There we were thinking we were at the stadium, only for the security to tell us that, no, this is not the place, and that we had to find the other stadium. So that took us, it was about 20 minutes one way, and then we went 20 minutes the other way, and we ultimately found the Moulay El Hassan Stadium. And this is what I will say about the Moulay El Hassan Stadium. It is a wonderful stadium, freshly built, and you get the sense the Moroccans were using the facility to test it, and they were also trying to see how it would feel like in a tournament setting. So you approach the magnificent Moulay El Hassan Stadium. It's just by by one of the roads. So we got in, and then we managed to find, our spot and all of that. So we were in there. Now, as of the time we got in, it was about 2 p.m. Moroccan time. So match time was about another 3 hours away. You had some fans there, but all the people you saw around were officials, either stadium security, match security, ball boys, and other people who were around. And so we were inside. And then not too long after, at 5 p.m. Moroccan time, the game started. And to the game itself, and I'll talk about some of the things, as the game was happening. So the game itself started really intensely. Nigeria got on the front foot. They were asking questions. They wanted to get into the lead. And ultimately, just before halftime, Jerome Adams got that first goal. It was poor defending on the part of the Gabonese. They absolutely went to sleep. And then Adams made it 1-0. And then the second half started. Then the Nigerians were still asking questions. But at the time, you could tell that Gabon were beginning to grow in confidence. They were beginning to ask questions themselves. They were beginning to get into promising positions. Even though Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang did not have the greatest of games, he was involved in and out of the team. He was very isolated and he was struggling. You could tell he was really struggling all game. But somehow, into second half injury time, Mario Lemina gets space on the left-hand side, takes a shot, it takes a deflection, 1-1, we go into extra time. And that goal stunned the stadium, because now, as the game was going on, a lot of the noise was coming from the Gabonese fans. So the Gabonese fans, when the game started, were in the majority. They were behind the Nigerian goalpost, causing a ruckus, making noise, jumping all over the place. After about 60 minutes, the momentum started to change. Now, because the ends had changed, the Gabonese moved to behind the Nigerian goalpost. But as of the time, the Nigerian contingent of fans started trooping into the stadium. And then you could tell that the vibe in the stadium was beginning to change. So you had the Nigerian fans on top, and then the Gabonese fans below, and they were competing song for song, sound for sound, noise for noise, but the Nigerians ended up dominating the atmosphere. So 1-1, the Nigerian part of the stadium is stunned into silence. You had Nigerian journalists upset. You had some Nigerians in the media section losing their heads over the fact that it was 1-1. Then we go into extra time. Again, it's happening. And then Victor Osimhen misses that chance. And I'm sure people have seen the videos of that chance.
Yeah.
Brilliant one-on-one opportunity. He misses that. Not too long after, Chidera Juke makes it 2-1. And then you can tell that Nigeria, mean business. Not too long after, Osimhen makes it 3-1. And then he makes it 4-1. And the story is that in terms of football on the pitch. The other interesting things, for example, when the time added on, I think it was at the end of the first half or second half, I can't seem to remember, was 6 minutes. People were shocked that why was it 6 minutes? A lot of people were surprised so much time added on was given.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the game, it was 12 minutes. And people were even more surprised that it was 12 minutes, because that was when it was 1-1. And I think just before it turned 1-1, the time was given, and then Lemina scored that equalizer. So that was that. And then afterwards, press conference, mixed zone, and the videos are up on our socials.
Right.
Players like Victor Osimhen, Awaziem, Calvin Bassey, and other players were in the mix zone answering questions and all of that. So that's the picture of the Nigerian game. Now, let me tie in something related to the other game. So after the game ended, colleague journalists said, okay, we had a long day. We wanted to go and grab something to eat. So we made our way towards the Aribat Mall. Now, the Aribat Mall is close to where the second game was played. So just when we arrived in the precincts of the stadium, DR Congo scored their goal and the place just erupted. There was so much noise. As of the time, we didn't know who had scored.
Okay.
Right, so we quickly had to take out our phones and check. And then we noticed that Chancel Mbemba had scored. All right, so we drive around to find a parking space. And then we find a space. We are walking towards the mall, and then we meet this set of very jubilant DR Congo fans who are singing, dancing, and they are very happy and all of that. And they are telling the Nigerian journalists I'm working with that they should beware on Sunday and that DR Congo is coming for Nigeria. DR Congo will beat Nigeria. It was a very interesting sight to watch. And then we ran into some Cameroonian fans who were visibly very upset. Some were very sad. There was a gentleman who was lying. So there was a green area near the mall. There's a gentleman who was just lying on the green area, lying in the green area, just looking into the sky in shock. He couldn't believe that Cameroon had lost that game to the DRC. So, ultimately we found our way back to the hotel. In all of this, Raymond, it was raining. The temperatures were down. It was extremely cold. And Ghana man, I'm traveling to North Africa, so I assume that temperatures will be
we're going to be
high.
favorable.
Yeah, I am freezing in the rain without a jacket, in a polo shirt. It was an adventure last night. Trust me, it was an absolute adventure.
You should have.
But yeah, that's it.
You should have paused for a few shots of what Eustace would have given you.
So when I got back to my hotel, I quickly had to try and fix something warm to drink. But really, that's the adventure from yesterday. Started off really peacefully, and it got into a lot of intense action as the day went. So, but look, back to the football. Nigeria won that game by 4-1. Their head coach Eric Shell said that they were trying to carve an identity and that it will take time. He looked like a very happy man, but a man who was beginning to understand this team, but also a man who admits that there's a lot of work to do. And he quickly reminded everybody that they needed to focus ahead of Sunday because all of this would be meaningless if they do not win that game on Sunday. So that's really a wrap of the story from last night.
Nathan, quickly, after 90 minutes, it was 1-1. It was all even. How did Nigeria manage to score 3 goals in extra time? Why did the extra time look so easy for the Nigerians?
Well, this was it. I noticed that the Gabonese lost control of the game, and their coach said it in the post-match press conference. Throughout the game, you could tell that every now and again, they would make one bad decision after the other. So passes were faulty. There was not proper marking. Every now and again, those things would show up. And then it finally started to show as the game went along. Maybe it was tiredness. I can't tell because they had that Osimhen one-on-one. He cleverly beat the offside trap. The Gabonese could not cover. And then in extra time, the game just fell apart. It went away from them. The decisions became more and more frequent. They were just not locked in. They were just not focused. They lost control of the game. Now they couldn't keep the ball anymore. Every time they got it, they gave it away. And that allowed Nigeria to keep pestering them until they found the goals. If you look at, for example, Ejuke's goal, one of those attacks that breaks down, ball comes in, finds Ndidi, and then eventually gets to Ejuke, who puts the ball into the back of the net. And the story repeated itself for the Osimhen goals that Nigeria scored. So it was a game where Gabon just lost it. Look, if this game had been played over 2 legs, I think we may have seen a more competitive tie. But the longer the game played out, you could tell that lack of focus showed. The Gabonese couldn't keep control. They were all over the place. And the Nigerians quickly sensed it, took advantage and scored the goals that gave them separation and eventually led them to win the game by 4-1.
Right. Let me bring in Michael. And Michael, before the game yesterday, you spoke about the fact that one thing was going to be key in this game and experience was going to play a role. And you rightly pointed out that if one team was going to be short on experience, it was going to be the Gabonese side, because they've not been in this position before and the Nigerians had been here before. What do you make of that 4-1 scoreline? Flattering, but was the game that easy? And in that extra time, what did the trick for the Nigerians? How did they manage to get 3 unanswered goals in extra time?
Well, I think it was because, yes, I mentioned earlier, Nigeria had the big men in the side. Players who started the game could impact it, and then even those who climbed off the bench could also impact it in their own way. So they had a deep squad that Eric Chell could trust to do a job for them. If you compare that to Gabon, it is very much different. They have just some players who've been playing for them for like 7-8 years who have become mainstays in the side, and they don't really have a strong bench to impact the game against an opponent like Nigeria. Maybe they can do a job against the minnows, the likes of Togo, Benin, and the others. But if you are to face the big guns, then you would definitely need more than a very good starting 11 to play against them. The second reason will perhaps be you just have to look through the Gabonese squad, especially those who started, and then check their ages. Only 3 players were 20 years and more, maybe not even 30, let me put it that way. You have Ekomi, who is their number 19. Then also there is Lois Mbaba, their goalkeeper is 27. Ekomi should be somewhere around, I think, Jack Ekomi is like 22 years. And then Anthony Oyono, who's their right back, he's 24 years. So only 3-4 players within the side, including Royce Openda, are like not 30 years yet. The rest are 30 plus. You have Apindagoye is 31, 32. Ekwele Manga is 37 years. Didier Ndong is 31. Poco is 31. Mario Lemina, 32. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, 36. Dennis Buanga, he's 31. So if you have players who have hit beyond 30, dominating your team, and then you don't really have a deep bench, then it means it's going to affect you when the game has to travel that deep. And this is a game that Gabon exerted themselves very well in the first half and then in the second half. Throughout the 90 minutes, they were able to match the physical levels of the Nigerians. Now, when you have to play extra 30 minutes, it is definitely going to require a lot from you again. And then the Gabonese did not really have it because they don't have a deep bench. And then those who started and they are their sure options are not really having enough energy to match up to what Nigeria has to offer. And at a point in time, it affected them because when Nigeria were serving up the likes of Jerome Adams, Samuel Chukwueze, for instance, they replaced Ademola Lookman with Moses Simon. And then pace for pace, Ademola Lookman and Moses Simon will give you similar. Maybe the difference will be that Lookman is a deadly finisher, but in terms of the work rate, what both players has to offer in terms of their threat to opponent, they have equal strength. Then Ejuke is a speedster, was at Sevilla doing the damage anytime. And so if you replace him with Samuel Chukwueze, it is like for like. Then again, if you bring on board someone like Frank Onyeka for Jerome Adams, who's an attacker, Onyeka is a midfielder. He helps to solidify the back line. Then again, Chidozie Awaziem and then Alexi will be very similar in terms of the role they have to play. Then even Aroko Dare, who came on with just 4 minutes to end the game, is a top striker. Made his name in the Belgium league before he joined Wolves, where his career hasn't really hit up as expected. So you look through the Nigerian bench and they had options. Gabon did not have options. And then they had an aging squad who could not really sustain the energy levels in extra time. So yes, it's understandable that they will lose steam. They won't give you that much in terms of what is required of them. And then you could see from the faces of the players, especially Mario Lemina, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. At a point in time, a free kick was awarded Mario Lemina, and then he just had to place his arms around his waist, bend down, just to gasp for breath, and that showed a player who was out of fuel, and then his tank was empty. He would have done with maybe being subbed off for an option to climb off the bench to replace him, but there was nobody to do the job that Mario Lemina can do. So I think it's Nigeria's deep squad and their big men who took the game to the Gabonese, and then at a point in time, Gabon could not just sustain the energy levels to the level that was expected of them, and Nigeria got the better of the Gabonese. Yeah. So I think this is what actually separated.
Well, Nathan, for Gabon, disappointed, and I'm sure Thierry Moyuma would be disappointed his charges could not deliver glory for them. What next for this Gabonese team? Possibly, are we going to see them regroup for AFCON? I mean, what next for this team?
Well, the coach would make a point about learning the lessons from this episode. He did admit, and Michael mentioned that they didn't have a lot in the tank. He did admit that the mistakes were there. So those are the two big things they'll have to work on: figuring out how to add some more depth to this team, and then trying to take out the individual errors and mistakes, because really that's what cost them. It really cost them yesterday. For a game that they managed to compete in for large parts, it fell apart very quickly in extra time, and they'll have to figure it out. Because look, if Gabon ever wants to win the biggest prizes in African football, be it the AFCON or whatever, they will have to learn, they will have to develop staying power. They will have to learn how to keep going with teams between minutes 1 and 120 minutes. They will have to learn to push and all of that. Plus, they'll have to learn to have quality, because when you have players like Lemina and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang who are on the wrong side of 30, you need to have very capable replacements. And I have a feeling that Gabon don't have those ready replacements. I have a feeling that they are also, after this chapter, it will be one of rebuilding, restructuring, and it will take them time to build chemistry until they have a squad that's as good as this. They have a few pieces in there. Their goalkeeper and Bamba was a shining light last night, and I thought that he made a good case for himself going forward. And I think he made a good case for a goalkeeper who's got enough potential. But when you take him out and one or two others, or the right back, apart from these two, you have a lot of these guys who are now trying to come up and are now trying to be good options for the national team. So I get the sense that we'll see Gabon dip a bit whilst they regather, whilst they try to rebuild a team before they possibly go on the rise. But to do that, they will need quality such as the one Mario Lemina and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang have. How many Aubameyangs can Gabon produce at a time? That your guess is as good as mine. How many Mario Leminas will they be able to produce in subsequent generations? It's a bit of a complex thing. But, Gabon will have to be proud of what they've done in these World Cup qualifiers, right? Finishing second behind Cote d'Ivoire, matching Cote d'Ivoire all the way. They were the best second place team in terms of points, and also they can be proud, but there's a lot of work that they will have to do going forward in terms of reconstructing this team and making sure that in a few years this team will still be at this level. This team can match the bigger countries on the continent.
Right. The next time we get to see Gabon play would be the AFCON opener on December 24, when they come up against Cameroon. So the two playoff losers would meet in a losers contest. the AFCON tournament. That should be an interesting one. But let's talk about the other game. And Michael, I'll come to you because Nathan was at the mall, doing a few things at the mall.
By the time we got to the mall was closed. There was nothing happening there. But we ran into Congolese fans, though.
Right. Yesterday, Michael, you spoke about, the SAB and what he's been able to do with this DR Congo team, trying to get them to stay focused, do the very important things in games. First of all, did you see that game ending after 90 minutes with a winner? Because we all saw what happened in the Nigeria game, and it was looking like we were going to get another extra time, Then Chancellor Mbemba decided to change the narrative. I mean, what kind of game did we watch? What kind of game was it? And how come we saw a winner in 90?
Well, that was a surprising part of it. But if you watch the game right from the start, you will need little convincing that this was a game that was headed straight to extra time, because both sides did not really want to give too many spaces at the back, especially for the opponent to exploit. But I still think Cameroon did create some decent chances, but for the poor finishing of Ete Young, they should have at least had a goal in this encounter. Brian Mbeumo, for all the delightful football he's played for Manchester United this season, I don't think he really had a very great game per standards. And it was much more like the chaos that had been caused in the Cameroonian camp, the rift between the FECAFOOT and then the sports ministry regarding the coach and everything, seems to have had a toll on this team. You can actually see some of the players in there, but you don't really trust Cameroon to do that job as a collective, as a unit. They play too much of individual football. So if it is a game that individuals do not show up or individuals are missing, definitely affects their game. And they were too physical for my liking. The likes of Nuhu Tolu, even Michael Ngaju, they were so physical. And that was the only edge they had over the DR Congolese. And then for DR Congo, despite how brilliant they were and then my trust in them, they also did not give us much of an attacking adventure. They were a bit more skeptical about throwing everything at the Cameroonians in terms of going forward. So they were measured in their approach. There were times where they attacked with very few numbers that you expected that if they had a goal and then tried to really had strike at the Cameroonians, maybe they would have at least created some very good chances. It was only when the coach decided to substitute Cedric Bakambu and then Mbuku off the pitch, bring on board the likes of Fiston Mayele. That was when they were able to inject some vibrancy into the attack. And that was when they really started to trouble, because before then, it was only Thierry Bongonda who was actually troubling the Cameroonians, where he could take the ball, pick it up, dribble some one or two Cameroonian players. But when he had to have a go at them and then search forward, there was not enough numbers to find as regards his teammates. And Cameroon were able to tour this. So it was a very cagey affair. Both sides did not really give that much. And the goal that Chancellor Mbemba scored was actually a goal that Cameroon did not really think will happen. But then again, these are the lessons football offers us. Cameroon thought this was a game they had to see out and then eventually enter into extra time. And then DR Congo had to just look at the playbook, tap into what they have perhaps tried out at training, and then executed against the Cameroonians. And then this typical Chancellor Mbemba goal. If you had monitored him at Newcastle and then Olympique Marseille, he is mostly a threat during set plays, free kicks, corner kicks. He's mostly on hand to finish them, whether aerially or from the ground. He's always available to put the finishing touches to some of these chances. So it wasn't really surprising that DR Congo used what they have to punish the Cameroonians. But trust me, I was very surprised that they had to end 1-0 in this game. I think Cameroon did not really play well, but they did at least deserve a goal. And the biggest culprit in here will be Ete Young. He missed a lot of the chances they created. And I'm surprised that in a game like this, Mark Brees decided against starting players like Vincent Aboubakar. It is true, he's not really having an excellent club career. But you see, at the national team level, you need more experience than club form. And someone like Vincent Aboubakar will pose a threat to the DR Congolese defense, because throughout, Ete Young, given for his lack of impact in the game, was able to find himself in very good positions. And that is when he missed those decent chances that were created for him. I don't think the likes of Axel Tuanzebe, Mutusami, Chancellor Mbemba were so strong enough that if you had played someone like Vincent Aboubakar in place of Magri, then it would have been an issue for Cameroon. I think it would have actually helped them. And to me, Cameroon are actually not in good places. They are not having a typical football project running. I think the politics is too much. And it's affected them in almost every facet of the game. Player selection, player call-ups, and even the appointment of coaches, the running of the game administratively. they are actually in a bad place. And they would have to sort these issues out before the next AFCON comes. But for DR Congo, I think it is a good reward for how consistent they have been since Sebastien Desabre took charge, and how he's been able to blend this team with players who relatively did not really have to go through the DR Congolese football system. The likes of Axel Tuanzebe, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Noah Sadiki. They are players who have been plucked from different football cultures, and then they've been put into this team. But I think under the Sebastien Desabre, he's been able to blend them, get them to understand why they have been put together. And they are all dying for the cause. I only hope that they will be able to play their football, their brand of football against Nigeria, and then things will work out for them. But it was a deserving result against Cameroon.
Right.
And a very, very deserving reward for all the hard work they have done.
Well, Nathan, let's talk about Cameroon. Michael talks about Eta Young, who's had a bright start to his career at Levante. Has gotten on the goal sheet, the goal scorers, the goal scoring charts, a couple of times this season in games. I mean, what this Cameroonian team in the game yesterday, what went wrong for them? Because it looked like many were expecting their off-the-field issues to trouble them, but they still held their own until the 91st minute when they conceded a goal. What didn't happen for them in yesterday's game?
Two things. One, the fact that they couldn't kill off the opportunities they got. But I think more importantly, we still have to talk about the politics having this cloud over the team. It just looks like the team just could not bring it together. Look, I watched Nigeria play yesterday. Even Gabon, you could tell that those two teams had a certain unity of purpose. They knew why they were in Morocco. They knew that they had one goal to achieve, and everybody looked very locked in. Cameroon, you don't get that vibe from Cameroon. When you speak with colleague journalists from Cameroon, you just get the sense that this team is almost cracking at the seams. This team is just not together, right? There are too many things happening, and on the day yesterday, it just couldn't come together. The other reason also stems from the fact that it was a very close game. Defensively, everybody didn't take a risk. So I think, for example, if the Congolese had been a bit more adventurous, Cameroon would have had space to run into, and they would have seen a lot more from the Cameroonians, especially from other players. And then the bit of the subscript that I think bothered them, losing a player like Frank Zambo Ngisa was a huge blow, because with such a player, what you have is somebody who every now and again will run into the box, will crash the box, be a goal-scoring threat, be an option for you. And Cameroon didn't really have that. Brian Mbeumo didn't have a great game. You had Vincent Aboubakar on the bench. You had their striker missing so many opportunities. So it was just a mix of different things. And then getting to the very end, you concede a set piece. Bam Chancel Mbemba scores, and that's it. When you concede a goal at that time, it's very difficult for you to come back, unless, of course, the opponent goes to sleep or you also get an opportunity. But once that goal went in, it was curtains for Cameroon. And I think that it is a time for them to start thinking about where to go from here, because the crop they have is a very good crop. It's a very decent crop of players. And I don't see how and why Cameroon have not managed to put themselves in a position to qualify for the World Cup. I don't think the damage was done last night. I think the damage was done months ago when they could not win some of the games they could not win. Let's not forget that I think they lost to Cape Verde, and that started to open up the gap in terms of the World Cup qualifying. From that point, they were always chasing the game, and with Cape Verde winning game after game after game, it was always going to be complicated. But I think the Cameroonians will have to look at themselves and concede that this is almost self-inflicted, right? A large part of this journey that hasn't worked is down to the Cameroonians themselves, the back and forth between Eto'o and the ministry, with Mark Bryce caught in the middle, with the team suffering collateral damage. I wonder how they wanted to qualify with all of this, because even if they had made it, it would have showed up later, possibly at the World Cup or in the build-up to the World Cup. Sometimes, football has a way of leveling things out and handing you the reality check you need. And I think that Cameroonians have been handed that reality check. Right. I hope they learn from this episode, and I hope they they come together. Between now and the AFCON is what? A few weeks, a month probably. I don't know how they are going to get themselves together, but they need to look at the AFCON as a place of redemption, right? They need to look at the AFCON as an opportunity to get things together and start again. I don't know how well they will do in the AFCON, but if they can come together and start again and be unified. We know Cameroon, they are your archetypal tournament team. They will be poor in the qualifiers, show up at a competition and give you a performance. If they can tap into that, they will be fine, but they have to admit that there's a lot of work to be done, especially surrounding the politics. If they don't get that right, it will still seep into the team and they'll miss out on winning, the things that football has got to offer.
Nathan, talking about the politics, you spoke to a few Cameroonian journalists. Do you get the feeling that Mark Bryce would lead this Cameroonian team to the AFCON?
It's a tough one. I think Mark Bryce's fate, from what I know, does not depend on him, unless of course he wants to walk. But if he wants to stay, he does have the ministry on his side, and he has Samuel Eto'o and Fekafoot on the other side. It's very difficult to tell what the plan will be going forward. That's why I think the wisest thing is to have all the parties being on one page. I think Mark Bryce wants to handle this thing. I get the feeling that he recognizes what this team can do, and he wants to be the one to put them together and have a good AFCON. Making a coaching change now, just from my own perspective, I don't think will make sense. But when you speak to Cameroonian journalists, there's still a lot of uncertainty as to what even follows next. The general consensus is that not a lot of people are happy with this back and forth between Eto'o and the sports ministry. Not a lot of people like it. But I think sometimes what fuels is that you still have one or two people, either fans or whatever, taking a side. So there are some people who are on the side of Fekafoot. There are some people who are on the side of the ministry. There are some fans who don't like certain players because they don't side with Samuel Eto'o. It's a bit of a very complicated story with Cameroon. But the word from Cameroonian journalists is that, one, they want the politics to end, and they do want some clarity and unity with the team so that when they go to the AFCON in about a month, there's no confusion. Because just imagine Cameroon being the story of the tournament, where they go into that, and then there's all kinds of problems surrounding the team. It's just really bad for team chemistry ahead of a major tournament, especially as Cameroon want to win their first AFCON since 2017. So, I think Mark Bryce will just have to wait and see what happens. I think his fate is in the balance. He will have to wait and see. He may have his own wishes, but we will have to wait and see what happens now that they are not going to the World Cup. And we'll have to see how Fekafoot and Samuel Eto'o will react to this entire episode.
Right. Let's talk about the final. And let me start with you, Michael. Now, you look at Nigeria, and in the last few games they've played.
Before we proceed,
okay.
I think I deserve some flowers, because I did call the DRC game yesterday.
That's correct. That's correct. Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
And I said we'd have a Nigeria DRC final.
The only problem is that you kept your money in your pocket.
I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you a funny story. So yesterday at the media center, when we got to the stadium, so it was myself, Poja, Victor, and some other Nigerian journalists. And one gentleman walked in. He writes for Flash Score. I think his name is Modo. I can't remember the name. I can't remember the name. I'm sorry if I got the name wrong. And he said, guys, if anybody is a Panther here, please play something on this bet. Nigeria to win over 2.5 and Osimhen to score 2 goals. And we were all laughing. Little did we know that he had seen the future.
Well, Nathan, you kept your money in your pocket.
Yes, I did. I kept my money in my pocket.
Well, let's talk about the final. And it's Nigeria versus DRC. Two teams that look good. Two teams well organized, well drilled. In terms of star quality, I think that Nigeria have the star power. DR Congo would come across as the team that plays as a well-knit unit. I mean, both teams would have their own advantages and disadvantages, will have their own challenges and all. But what kind of final should we expect, Michael? And if Nigeria can win this tie, where would they win this game? If DR Congo can actually, get the better of this Nigerian team, how can they do it? Let's look at this final quickly, and then we wrap up for the Premier League and the Black Stars game. So let's look at the finals. What kind of finals should we expect, and where would the job be done?
I think it is a final that offers a clash of styles, because one thing I've seen Eric Shell do with this Nigerian team is that he's playing according to the strength of the players at his disposal. They are very direct. Nigeria has direct speed. As I mentioned, Samuel Chukwueze or Ejuke, Bosi Simon or Ademola Lookman, these are players who thrive in a team that plays direct football because they can utilize their pace or their speed. Then again, in the penalty box, they are deadly because of the presence of someone like Victor Osimhen. So I'm looking at a Nigeria team that will play very direct, that will want to create more chaos in the penalty box of the opponent because of a striker they have. And then in the middle, the leadership and the experience of Ndidi helps them to calm down situations and control it. You compare that to a DR Congolese setup who deal with very good organization because they're a team that loves to have that kind of unit. They marry organization with utilization of set pieces, like Cameroon learned in the game they played against DRC yesterday. So I think it is a game that the coaches will actually have a crucial role to play in here. It is not just going to be about the players, because I think that if DRC allows Nigeria to go direct, then they are done. And so definitely I expect to see a DR Congolese setup by Sebastien Desabre that does not really allow too many spaces or too much spaces for the Nigerians. And I think in such an instance, it becomes frustrating for Nigeria. Again, a DR Congolese setup that will not even contemplate building up from the back, so that Nigeria will high press them and try to win the ball from the closest point in terms of attacking the DR Congolese team. So it's going to be exciting. But I think Nigeria have a lot in store that DR Congo do not have. The deep bench, the options available. And I think it favors Nigeria more, but it's going to be a tight game, a closely fought encounter. But I'm tipping Nigeria to qualify. DR Congo.
Right. Nathan, let's look at Nigeria and DRC and look at where this game could be won or lost for either of the teams. Now, we've seen Nigeria rely heavily on that forward line. And of course, when you have a striker like Osimhen who is in fine form, you could always expect him to carry the team all the way. And there's an extra motivation of, if we make it into that interconfederation playoff, for both teams, they know they would be in the World Cup if they get to that stage, because you can talk about the teams that could potentially qualify. And Nigeria or DRC, with the quality they have, definitely if they get into that playoff phase, they could qualify. That would be the extra motivation there. Now, for these two teams, how do they get the job done on match day? If Nigeria have to qualify, what do they have to do? If DRC have to qualify, what do they have to do? It's a tough one, but I mean, let's try to break it down. What needs to be done for either of the teams to get through to the next stage?
Well, for DRC, it's, as Michael said, staying disciplined. They will have to stay very focused, very disciplined in terms of being locked in, but also keeping their shape defensively. Because if there's anything I've noticed about Nigeria, especially under Eric Shell, it's the fact that they struggle to break teams down. They really struggle when teams sit deep. They are not offered anything, and they can't seem to find their way through. This Nigerian attack thrives on chaos and space. And if you hand them chaos and space, they will enjoy themselves. Look at the firepower and pace in their forward line. If they can go past your defense, then you know you are in for a very long day. So DRC will have to rely on being, one, physically durable, and being disciplined tactically, staying in their shape, not giving up anything, not trying to be cute and pretty. That is one way. The other way is something they did yesterday. try the set piece, take advantage of the set piece, take advantage of what they have. Because I look at Chancel Mbemba. Now, if Nigeria deployed the back line they deployed yesterday, Chancel Mbemba from a set piece can enjoy himself, because aerially, the only player in that back line, at least from what I saw yesterday, who may be an antidote, who can try to match Chancel Mbemba, is Calvin Bassey. Now, if DRC in an attacking set piece can keep Calvin Bassey far away and allow Chancel Mbemba time to attack a cross or whatever, they could have an opportunity. For Nigeria, they will just have to try to be creative, you see, because Eric Shaw has to remember that DRC will not give anything. It's almost like an AFCON final. It's almost like a final, because if you win, even though you don't win a trophy, what you get is the tickets to stay alive in the qualifier. So this is as big as anything. And what is at the end of the tunnel is a World Cup slot. So Eric Shaw has to remember that DRC will not give them anything. He has to try and find a way of unlocking that defense. He has to try and find a way of getting his players to be on it, right? Osimhen, Lookman, and all the others. He has to find us. So midfield will be very important. How does the Nigerian midfield open the door for players like Osimhen to go and score? So they need to tap into their creative side and find ways of unlocking that Congolese defense, which will be very resolute and will keep everything shut. However, Nigeria need to watch this habit they have. And if anybody has noticed, Nigeria has struggled to keep clean sheets ever since the World Cup qualifiers started. They have conceded in almost every game. And yesterday against Gabon, they conceded from a nothing situation. They conceded from a situation they shouldn't have been conceding from. And I was having a chat with some Nigerian journalists after the game, and all of them kept saying that, look, this is a tendency that can cost the team. They are always giving a goal away, even when they should not give a goal away. Or even when they take the lead, they can't seem to close the doors and windows. So Nigeria will have to be very aware of that tendency that even when they score, sometimes they can go to sleep and the opponent will find a way back. And for DRC, those are the things they need to look out for. Staying disciplined, but trying to catch Nigeria in those off moments where they've gone to sleep on a set piece, play has broken down, nobody is marking anyone, and then somebody gets the chance to go and score. So I feel that it will come down to one, moment; two, whether Nigeria can break the Congolese defense down, and three, what can Nigeria give in terms of defensive solidity, either in terms of open play because they concede goals, or from a set piece, because the Congolese will be very, very adept at using that, especially looking at the frame and size of Chancel Mbemba. So I don't think we'll see a 4-1 result as we saw last night. I think we'll see a closer one. But if the Congolese do get adventurous, Nigeria will be there to punish them. So I go with Michael. I think about this game, I think you have to maybe put your money on Nigeria to win, slim win, because it won't be easy, but you cannot rule out DR Congo completely. And you also have to think about Nigeria's bad habit of always conceding, and you have to give a bit of a chance for DR Congo. It could go anybody's way, but it will be an interesting final. I don't think we'll see an exciting game. It will be close, tactical, because nobody wants to give anything away. 1 or 2 chances will determine that final, and then whichever team wins gets to go into the playoff. But I'll have to go with Michael on this. I give Nigeria a slight advantage going into the final on Sunday.
Right. Nathan, you have been with the Nigerians. Just a quick one on this. Now, you could see that defensively, Nigeria seemed to have issues. Yesterday, it was Benjamin Frederick, the 20-year-old boy who plays for Denda in Belgium, who started. A lot of us were expecting to see Trost Ekong in there. And even on the bench, there's still Awaziem, who plays for Nantes, and Onyemachi Bruno, who plays at Olympiacos, who are more experienced defenders. What's the thinking of Eric Schell in playing Benjamin Frederick ahead of these experienced defenders?
It was an interesting one. The feeling I got, and even though Eric Schell did not really address that, when you speak with watchers of the team, they talk about a player who is younger and fresher and quicker, and a player who they feel is ripe for the moment. I think if it's just zoning in on the game in particular, probably they must have thought of the pace of Aubameyang and sure that, okay, now if we are going to play a pairing of Bassi and Frederick, then somebody has to be in there with enough pace, enough verve, enough youth to try and match what Aubameyang may potentially bring. Ultimately, Aubameyang couldn't really offer much, so you can tell that it was a decision that paid off inadvertently. I also thought I was going to see Troost-Ekong, but I saw him on the bench. In terms of just the team vibe and chemistry, I think Troost-Ekong didn't really throw a tantrum. He was okay with coming off the bench. I do not know if, because of experience, say Troost-Ekong comes into the team on Sunday. We will find out as the days go by. But it looks like Eric Schell wants to make some of these decisions. He wants to take some of these chances with some of these younger players, right? And then take this team forward. He talks about identity. He talks about a new identity for the Nigerian national team. He talks about a team that is beginning to carve in his own image. If that is anything to go by, it looks like he has a preference for some of these guys as opposed to maybe Troost-Ekong or Awaziem. Awaziem did get his minutes. Troost-Ekong came on later. But I don't know if we see a repeat. I will not be surprised if we see Bassi and Fredericks reprising their role against DRC on Sunday. This is what I say. If that centre-back pairing starts again, potentially Eric Schell is telling us something. It may not be concrete, but I think if the two players start at centre-back, it could be a statement that Eric Schell may make in the long run. Maybe it's the first part of a long-term statement that we'll have to wait and see. For now, nobody's reading too many things into it. I guess if after Sunday he repeats that backline, then people's eyebrows will get raised and they'll start to think a bit more about what Eric Schell wants to do, especially with especially concerning a player like Troost-Ekong. He's still team captain, but we'll have to wait and see if it was less tactical or there is a deeper meaning to that starting decision.
Right. Nathan, thank you very much for joining us on the show this morning. I'm sure we'll be getting updates from you in terms of the build-up to this final. So we'll be looking forward to hearing from you as the minutes and the hours go by. Thank you very much, Nathan.
All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Sure, you too. Michael, you stay with me because we'll get into the Ghana Premier League in a bit. Lots of interesting games to look forward to. Match day 10 of the 2025-2026 Ghana Premier League season. And there are some interesting games to look forward to this weekend. This is still the Sporty Breakfast. And this is Sporty FM 106.1 FM in Accra, 102.5 in Takoradi, and 91.3 in Kumasi. Ebenezer Sefa to help me do the analysis on the show this morning. Coach, once again, welcome to Sporty Breakfast.
Thank you.
Well, I'm sure you've been following the discussion around Nigeria and everything. I'm sure you've been watching keenly. Between Nigeria and DRC. I mean, who progresses to the Interconfederation playoffs?
Looking at both teams, I think that experience will count. And teamwork also count. And I think that the Nigerians showed some character yesterday, especially in the extra time. They did some kind of pressing in the final third, which for me did really help them. And of course, they have not the numbers on the bench, players coming in, and compared to the DRC team, I think that Nigeria have an edge or probably should have an edge over the DRC. It's definitely going to be a difficult one, but I tip Nigeria to go through. I mean,
Right. So for the Panthers out there, everybody is almost, giving it to Nigeria. I would see how it pans out. Just put your money there. But the Ghana Premier League table is looking interesting. Adriana Stars are currently top of the table, 19 points. Mediama are second, 18 points. Hearts of Lions are third on 18 points. BBN Gold Stars are fourth on 16 points. Hearts of Oak are fifth on 16 points. Samatex are sixth on 9 points. Now, all top 6 teams have played 9 games. Kumasi Asante Kotoko are 7th. They have 2 games in hand. And then they've played 7 games. Kotoko, Young Apostles have played 8 games. They are 8th on 14 points. Karela United, they are 9th, 13 points. Vision FC, 9th, 12 points. Hoho United, 9th, 10 points. Nations FC are 12th. They have 10 points. Dreams FC they are 13th. They have picked up 8 points. And you have Precum Chelsea 9th. They are 14th. They've picked 8 points. Sweden All Blacks are 15th. They've played 9 games. They have 7 points. You have Bechem United 16th. They are in the red zone. They have picked up just 6 points from 9 games. Holy Stars are 17th. They have played 8 matches. They picked up 5 points from 8 games. And then 11 Wonders, Shapiro's 11 Wonders. They are bottom of the table, 18th position. They've picked up just 2 points in the campaign this time. Now, Coach, let's talk about possibly the most or the biggest game of the weekend, Kotoko versus Adriana. And earlier this week, there were reports that Adriana Stars, and Michael can correct me if I'm wrong, Adriana Stars coach W. Tando was leaving the club. There were reports earlier this week. You can confirm that. Yes. So Kotoko Adriana Stars, and with all of these changes in the dugout of Adriana Stars, what should we expect from this game?
Well, for me, I think that W leaving Adriana is never going to affect their play. Never going to affect any of their planning. I mean, Chuba Aristika is in charge, and the second coming of Chuba has really helped Adriana. Before this season, he spoke about he getting new players, so he will need time to gel. The players will need time to adapt to his system and probably whatever he wants to play. That's his philosophy. And for me, I think that it has really helped them. I'm looking at Adriana this season. They've been able to win 2 away games. And for me, it's a plus for them. Last season, they really, really struggled. If you have a team that you have Bright AJ, Sam Adams on their bench, it speaks volume. I mean, looking at the attackers of Adriana, they are doing so well. Talk of Meshach Efri. He was one of the finest players for Brecum Chelsea. And of course, Emmanuel Mafo from a new DBS is also doing some wonderful, really well with the kind of goals that he's scoring for them. Maxwell Atai is an experienced player. Played all season for Dreams when they were in Division 2, Division 1 in the Premier before he left for Karela United. So he has got experience. Looking at their captain, and I think that they have a solid team. Adriana have a solid team. So for W. Tando leaving the club, I don't think it's really, really going to affect them. But compared to Kumasi Asante Kotoko, Adriana are finding it very difficult in playing Kumasi Asante Kotoko at the Barbarian Sports Stadium. I don't remember the last time they won against Kotoko at the Barbarian Sports Stadium. Even last season, look at how Kotoko performed against them, both in Doma and then, of course, at the Barbarian Sports Stadium. But this season, Adriana is doing something different. I don't know whether it is the Ataf Poku factor. This time when they are playing away from home, they go with about 2 buses full of supporters. When they went to Hohoi to win that game, they went with at least 2 buses full of supporters, and I think it's really helping them. You ask yourself, Adriana leaving Doma to Hohoi with 2 buses, then from Doma to Kumasi, how many buses are they bringing? But it's all going to be how Karim Zito is going to approach this game. He was able to pick 4 out of 6 points from the southern part, House of Folk and Vision FC. And for him, he believes that if he really wants to win the league, he needs to win all his home games, get some positive points away from home, and that I think he's on course. He's also trying to maintain consistency in his midfield. In the last 2 games, he has played Hilary Adabo, Seth Kojo, and of course Hubert Jehu. For me, they most improved in the Kotoko setup. I think Peter Amidu Akwa is the key for Kumasi Asante Kotoko when they are playing at home. Remember Atumako, who plays at the right wing back for Adriana, was a former player of Accra Lions. And he also played for the U20 when they won the African competition here at the Legon Sports Stadium. So Adriana has a team that is made of young players and experienced players. I'm talking of Anochi Bedu at their back. And for me, I think that it's definitely going to be a tight one. But hey, if Kotoko wants to win the game, I'm not sure they can rely on Donsu as a striker, though he scored for Kotoko in the game against Asofo. But I realized that they were playing 10 against 11 tactically.
Yeah.
Though for some points, you could see clearly that he was driving some defenders of Asofo to create space for his colleagues to be able to go. I mean, he moves very well, he positions himself very well, but the decision making and of course his vision awareness for me is very poor. And even the game against Vision FC, he was substituted because he was finding it very difficult to play. But if Zito is going to rely on the offensive players, where I have spoke about that, look, you need to improve upon how your players get into the penalty area, they can put the ball at the back of the net. I mean, we saw Peter Abido Aqua against Karela, who brought Jautu brilliant goals, and of course Seth Kojo with that brilliant header. So it's definitely going to be a tight one, but Adriana is definitely going to have a tough beating Kumasi and Asante Kotoko. For me, I think that Kotoko stand a chance of adding to their points by picking all the 3 points.
Right. And Michael, Kotoko remained the only unbeaten side in the Ghana Premier League this season, and quite a tough task for them as they face Adriana SC. But and Adriana this season have already lost 2 away games. They lost to Samatex and then they lost to Karela.
They've also won 2 away games.
Yes, so it's looking like, you know.
No, but you see, if you want to win the Ghana Premier League and you are able to win all your home games
and get some good points away
and draws away. No, Ghana Premier League, after the first one, you should be able to know whether you are in for the league or you are in for the relegation.
Yeah.
So for me, Adriana, I think that they are on course. I mean, winning 2 away games, it's not easy to go to Hawaii to pick all the 3 points.
Right.
Yes, someone will say that 11 Wonders is struggling, but the kind of game that Adriana played, for me, I was not surprised they won that game. So possibly they are going to give Kotoko a match. To be honest with you, it's going to be very difficult because Chobi Aristika is somebody who normally loves to play the 4-3-3. He varies his system. Karim Zito also loves to use Peter Amidu Aqua as his key. Of course, Lord Amwa as a right wing back also add up when he's searching for it. I don't know whether Saka Dauda is fit to play because he had a lot of knocks in the Vision game. So it's going to be between Chuba Aristika and Karim Zito. But at the end of the day, I expect Kotoko to travel with Diana.
Right. Michael, let me bring you in. And Kotoko have quite a good record in the Premier League this season. And they have a very good record against Adriana SC as well. Now, going into this game this weekend, what's Karim Zito saying? What's he been saying? And what's the plan going into this game? Would Kotoko finish this game maintaining their unbeaten run and possibly getting a point or 3 to, you know, keep their title hopes alive? What should we expect from this game this weekend?
If history is anything to go by, then Kotoko should keep their unbeaten run intact after Ediana starts his game. Ediana has never beaten Kotoko at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium. The only win they had against them as their away side was in 2021, during the time I think of Nanaya Amponsa, when Samuel Bio scored the only goal to help Ediana secure a 1-0 win. And that game took place at the Accra Sports Stadium. By then, the Baba Yara Sports Stadium had been closed down for renovation work. So clearly, Ediana do not really have much of history to boast of, talking of the away games against Kotoko. And this season, you know, the game that Ediana drew with Midiema was their first draw of the campaign. In all the games they had played, it was either they were winning or they were losing. So they've just drew a game. And one thing I want to highlight has to do with the form of Ediana Stars defensively. They have kept 4 clean sheets of the bounce, meaning in their last 4 games, whether home or away, they have not conceded. And that is partly to their goalkeeper, that is Prince Osei. He has been helping them to make a lot of saves, but he's well protected by the starting central defenders of the side. Coach mentioned Anochi Bedu, but I think one player who actually brings the best out of Anochi Bedu has to do with Alex Boache. You know, Anochi Bedu has played the league for a consistent period. He's very experienced, but his legs are very heavy now. His age has gotten the better part of him. But I think in Alex Boache, he's able to bring that energy to bear. So it doesn't allow Anochi Bedu to do a lot of work. And I think Asante Kotoko's attack are not really sharp and clinical. So in facing an Ediana FC defense that have showcased how solid they can be at point in time, and then judging by the kind of form that they are in or the run that they are on, it clearly gives this game vibes that we might not see too many goals as we saw in the Kotoko Karela game. Kotoko don't score a lot of goals, and their main goal threat is off. Ibejewu gave us a performance of his life in the game against Karela, but we saw him struggle to replicate it in games against Accra Asukuk and then Vision FC. Such performances are one-off. It happens. And Jehu, I don't think, has enough to give us in the game against Ediana what he did in that game against Karela FC. And then if you clearly see from the Kotoko team, Peter Amiduakwa is their deadly attacker. You have to trust him. He will create loads of chances. He will always be a pain in the neck of opponents' defenders. And I think that in this game, it will be interesting to see that battle between himself and then remember Adomako. Adomako is your go-to guy for Ediana if they have to attack from the right flank where he has to send in crosses. Mostly, he's playing behind Henson Aponsa. Henson Aponsa is their right winger. And then remember Adomako is their right back. But he has an excellent delivery from open play crosses or from set play. So they work out everything in a manner where Henson Aponsa would have to cut in, provide an outlet for Remember Adomako to send in the crosses. Now here lies the case that Kotoko's left side is also a very dangerous position for any opponent they face. Patrick Esiedu is a solid defender, meaning you'll be able to help deal with the threat that Diana FC will offer from the right side. And then going forward, there is Peter Amiduakwa to contend with. So I don't know how Chiuba Aristika will prepare for this, but I think that he would appreciate every threat that Peter Amiduakwa possessed and will want to find a way to cope with or deal with that threat. So it means that it will likely, either Ediana will have a lot of men on the right side to create overloads and then prevent Peter Amiduakwa from having 1v1 instances against, remember, Adomako. I am repeating, if Adomako is exposed against Amiduakwa, it could be the end of him in this game. And there was a similar thing when Kelvin and Nkrumah faced him when Ediana played against Ediama as a sporting club. And it was clear he was badly exposed and he did not really have one of his good games. So if it is going to repeat against an Asante Kotoko team that mostly tried to utilize the speed, the trickery, and then everything that Peter Amiduakwa is about, then it's going to be a bit difficult for them. Again, the midfield battle. Seydou Sana has been a breath of fresh air for Mediama. For Ediana. He did not really have a good game against Mediama, but I think that in games like this, you will want to come to the Kumasi Baba Yara Sports Stadium and display what he is about. Then against an Asante Kotoko midfield, where it looks like Zito is finally coming to terms with his best midfield selection. Lord Hilary Adapo, Seth Kwadwo, Hubert Jehu, when they have their day, will definitely torment Ediana Stars from the middle. And that is going to be a very fascinating battle to see. The midfield of Ediana versus the midfield of Asante Kotoko. That will also be an interesting one.
Yeah.
And then the battle of the center backs. Alex Boache has been a standout performer for Ediana FC, and he's been one of the best central defenders in the league. If he played for Hasselhoff or Asante Kotoko, trust me, it would have been one of the names that would have been pushed around as likely candidates for the Black Stars. He's a solid center back. If you're looking for the top 3 performing center backs in the league, definitely I think you can make a good case for Alex Boache to put his name in there. He comes face to face against Asante Kotoko's Sambo O'Neill. And I mentioned this yesterday in a conversation that Samba is renegotiating his deal with Asante Kotoko to extend his tenure. If they don't actually come to an agreement and Samba has to leave, I think one player that Kotoko can target is Alex Boache. He has had some level of consistency in terms of the Ghana Premier League. And then settling in a Kotoko from Mediana should not be difficult because he's a very top center back. How would the two of them display for their side in terms of the quality and the leadership that they ooze? Samba for Kotoko, Alex Boache for Ediana FC. It should be an interesting one. So it is a game that I think, yes, is a top liner for this weekend. And definitely anybody who will watch it will definitely attest to this. These are the top 2. These are part of the top performing sides in the Ghana Premier League this season. But I think on the basis of history and then what Zito has done with Kotoko, Zito's Kotoko have not lost a home game. Their worst performance has been a goalless draw against Heart of Lions. I think that Kotoko have enough and then have a lot backing them than Aduana FC. And I think that it's unfortunate, but we might see Kotoko beating Aduana FC on Sunday in the Ghana Premier.
Right. Kotoko come up against Aduana SC, who are currently top of the table. Now, all the teams ahead of Kotoko, the top 6, have played 7 games. And they have played 9 games. Kotoko have played 7. And so Kotoko have 2 games in hand. And they are currently 7th on the league log. And they'll be hoping to actually get a result to push them closer to the teams at the top. So very, very important game there for Kumasi Asante Kotoko as they hope to rack up points to mount a credible title challenge. So Kotoko are currently 7th. They have 15 points, having played only 7 games. The teams ahead of them, the top 6, have played 9 games. All of them have played 9 games. So we'll see. But let's talk. Yeah, Coach.
Chosito is looking at winning against Aduana, and on Wednesday play Young Apostles and probably come on top of the league, and then leave the last game that is against Basake Holy Stars. And so for me, I think that this is very crucial for Karim Zito. If he's able to win on Sunday, probably he should be able to account for Young Apostles at Baba Sports Stadium on Wednesday, and probably he will move.
They'll be the league leaders.
Yeah, he will move to 21.
Yeah,
and then they'll probably try and see whether things will work for them.
There's another interesting game we should look at. That's the 11 Wonders Midiama IC game. Midiama are currently 2nd, and 11 Wonders are currently bottom of the table. They have picked up just 2 points from 9 games they've played this season. And their new coach, Shapiro,
your own friend,
Coach Sapo, would be under lots of pressure against Tanko's Midiama. I mean, what should we look forward to in that game, Coach?
Yes, it's unfortunate he's playing Coach Ibrahim Tanko this time. I mean, though Midiama is not doing well away from home, but in their last 2 games against Hoho United, I mean, they pick a point from that game, played so well. And of course, against Aduana, as my friend said about how Midiama played, though they missed a lot of opportunities in that game. They played so well. If you want to find a team that plays good football this season, I think you cannot go away without mentioning Midiama, and that's how Coach Tanko is. Unfortunately, he's making Emmanuel Nkrumah and of course Prince Owusu, who are with the Blasters in faraway Japan, but he's got equally good players that he can rely on. You talk of Nana Kofi Babel, Refugio, God knows Jack Pasu, and I mean Bernardino Tete. These are guys that they are not even getting the playing time in Midiama. So it tells you how Midiama has been able to mold the team under Coach Ibrahim Tanko. Coming to play 11 Wonders who are struggling in the league. I mean, this is going to be the second game of Coach Shapiro. I'm sure by now he should have about 10 or 11 days training session with the team. Now he should know the team, he should know the chemistry of the team, he should know the individual attributes of the players. I think that the game against Vision FC, they struggled, though they went ahead to score, but Vision had a record, but they came back to win the game by 2-1. And monitoring their games, they play so well, but you ask yourself what has been their problem. Is it decision making in front of goal? Is it their awareness and communication at the back? That has been one big problem for them. Is this game going to be their first ever win in the Ghana Premier League? As at week 10, it's going to be a difficult one because Coach Tanko believes that this is a game that when he wins, he will still motivate his players for the target that they've set for themselves by winning the Ghana Premier League. So for me, I think that Coach Sapon is definitely going to have it. And at the end of the day, I think Midiama stands as favorite. Yeah, there may be surprises, though they are playing very well. Coach Sapon is an experienced coach, but as to whether he will be able to break between the lines. When you look at the midfield of Manuel Mante, Salim Adams in Midiama, I mean, they are a very good side. Salim Adams is here to power his strikes that we know of him, of a new DBS has to about 20-35 yards. He's got that strike. I mean, Kingsley Brahe, formerly of Interlies, Midiama, sometimes he comes from the bench to score some goals for them. For me, it's going to be a difficult one, but I foresee Midiama as favorite in this particular game. If 11 Wonders are to win this game or probably pick a point from this game, I will be surprised. But based on how Midiama has played their last 2 games away from home.
Right. Michael, let me bring you into this one and quickly let's talk about this. Now, Midiama SC go into this game without the services of 2 key players, Kelvin Nkrumah and Prince Owusu. These 2 players have been, the main players in that Midiama side. Now, going into a game against a team that's desperately in search of results, I mean, how does that help 11 Wonders going into this game? Midiama not having those two key players, does it tilt, the dynamics of the game in their favor going into this one?
Definitely not. If you have carefully studied the Midiama squad, you'll know that Tanko has enough options on the bench. So, for instance, in the absence of Prince Owusu, he can play two midfielders in Fuzi Taylor and Emmanuel Owusu, or he can decide to go for three in a typical 4-3-3 formation with Salim Adams, Emmanuel Owusu, and then Fuzi Taylor. So they have a lot of options. So even when Prince Owusu is not there, they can cope. Again, when there is no Kelvin and Nkrumah, they have a lot of options who can also step in and then do a job. God knows Jack Pasu started their last game off the bench. He can be slotted into the Kelvin and Nkrumah role, and then he would do a good job. Nana Kofi Babel is still there, and he's your typical wing attacker who can also do a job like Nkrumah does. So Midiama has a lot of options, trust me. And if you're looking for one of the sides that have decent squad sizes, definitely you would have to consider this Midiama team. And 11 Wonders, as I said, I don't think all of a sudden Shapiro knows this team well enough to the extent that he knows how to use them. So I think where the issue would actually come from will be about 11 Wonders and how familiar they are with exactly how Shapiro expects them to play. I think that is where the issue will be. They started the season with Odate Lamte had to leave. Shapiro just came on board. And I don't think he's had that enough time to work out with the players exactly how he wants them to play. So these are the issues. Midiama do have a deep squad. They have a very good squad as well. And I don't think they will have issues getting results against 11 Wonders. And they've also been one of the teams who have done very well in away games this season. They went to Doma, a venue where almost every away team had been beaten. Ediana had beaten Bechem, they had beaten Nations FC, they had beaten Swedro All Blacks. But when Midiama went there, they took the game to the home side. They created some decent opportunities, which could have even resulted in them scoring and then potentially winning the game. So the kind of squad size that Ibrahim Tanko has allows him to play out in a manner where his team is not so predictable. They can surprise you. And I think on this day, in this game, clearly, I think Midiama can force the issue. The worst for them, I think, in this game will be to claim an away point. If they beat 11 Wonders at the end of the game, I would definitely not be surprised because I know that they are hell-bent on winning the league. And they decided to organize themselves in a manner where they have a good squad, they had enough exposure and then preparation, and they are actually executing it so far in this season. So yes, I'm tipping Midiama to get a result against 11 Wonders, a win or draw for them.
Right. More trouble for Shapiro if he doesn't win this one because clearly he needs to get 11 Wonders back to winning ways if they hope to stay in the Ghana Premier League beyond the season. So we'll see how things pan out there. But Hearts of Folk are also in action this weekend. Hearts of Folk are currently fifth on the league log. They have 16 points. They lost to Kumasi Asante Kotoko last weekend, and they'll be desperate to return to winning ways. This weekend, they head straight to Swedro to play against Swedro All Blacks, who are also just 1 point above the relegation zone. Coach, tough game for Hearts of Folk, but can they return to winning ways after that disappointment against Kotoko?
It's possible when you look at the performance of Hearts of Folk away from home. It's possible they can pick up the 3 points. And Swedro All Blacks, I don't know whether you've had the message from their supporters. Giving their coach Ahmed Fati the ultimatum to beat Hearts of Folk, or after the game they just handed over his passport for him to leave, and they are trying to push the management to be able to get him because they believe that he has not helped the team and he's not doing anything, bringing some cohesion and understanding between the players, because some of the players are not happy because they believe that the coach is using certain players and he normally divides his training sessions into 3, so he only concentrates on only 20 players. Whether the other players like it or not, they are the players that they are going to use. But looking at the game against Nations FC, they went ahead and then Nations came back to beat them. Against Aduana, they took the lead. Though Aduana was the one dominating, putting pressure, dictating the pace. In that final third, they had a counter and they scored. But Aduana also came back. And they came back home to beat Brekum Chelsea by 3 goals. So at the end of that 3-0 win over Brekum Chelsea, people thought that, look, All Blacks is back. Because they are the only team, or let's say one of the teams that, when you talk of home support, they have it in abundance. I mean, you can see old ladies, young ladies, middle-aged women, and all using clothes. How they support the team in Swedru. So for them to beat Birkum Chelsea 3, they thought they are back into the Ghana Premier League, forgotten that maybe any Gold Stars will be coming just to pimp them.
Yeah.
And of course, in the game against Heart of Lions, though they had a red card, they had to come from behind to get an equalizer in that game. So for me, it was a difficult game for Sweden All Blacks. Their striker Randolph scored 27 goals in the just last season Division 1 league. He struggled to score. He has only scored 2 out of the 9 games that he has played. Looking at Sweden All Blacks, I think that there's a lot of pressure on the team. There's a lot of pressure on the coach to beat Accra Hasselhoff. Looking at the record of Hasselhoff away from home, they've just lost a game to Kumasi Asante Kotoko. And in that game, there were factors that affect performances. I think I told you on that Friday that we spoke about the game, before the game, about what was happening in the Hasselhoff camp. Players being owned by 3 months' salary. Players were complaining about not getting money to buy X and Y, whatever. It was a difficult task, and the Kotoko game against Hasselhoff was a big, difficult one. But I think they didn't disgrace themselves. They did a human job. But as to whether they've been able to psych Sani Mohammed, Hussein Mohammed, who went to attack the 4th referee after the game, is Abdul Karim fit? Because he was not fit. He was coming from injury. That's why he was introduced in the second half. I'm told Opon Fane is back into the setup. Kakari is back into the setup. Possibly Mauli Wayo will start because he's been scoring some wonderful goals for Hasselhoff when they play away from home. It's a difficult one. The last time Sweden All Blacks beat Hasselhoff, I think it was about 3-1 when they were in the Ghana Premier League some years back. It was a difficult one for Hasselhoff. Is it going to be a revenge for Hasselhoff, or Hasselhoff is just going to silence the supporters and probably send Coach Fatih Ahmed back to Egypt? It's going to be a difficult one. But Didi Dramani is talking about respecting Sweden All Blacks. They having equally good players like Hasselhoff. They having a sharp attack, but I believe that Sweden All Blacks is yet to prove that yes, they have a sharp attack. This is going to be a difficult one. Hasselhoff stands as favorite, though I think that the lose to Kotoko has really hurt them, and for them not to understand how the goal came and they getting an equalizer and for assistant referee to flag. These are issues, but has Hasselhoff been able to put it behind them? Listening to Didi Dramani, I believe that they are ready to go into that game that is tomorrow to pick all the 3 points. But the Swedro fans is putting a lot of pressure on their team. But you ask yourself, do they have that mentality, that toughness? Do they have that character to play Hasselhoff? If you watch the game against Hasselhoff game against Birkum Chelsea, you saw Hasselhoff dealt with them. Against Baseke Holy Stars, how Hasselhoff dealt with them. So for me, I believe that Sweden has just put pressure on their players to deliver. And I think that they need a coach or they need a manager who will be able to psych the players to go onto the field, because it's definitely going to be a tough one. Hasselhoff wouldn't like to lose twice on a row. That is Didi Dramani after losing to Kumasi Asante Kotoko. But the history will tell you that anytime Hasselhoff lose in a game against Kotoko, they go 7 straight wins. And this is whether it's going to happen or not.
This could be the start.
Of course.
Yeah.
So for me, it's going to be a big one. It's just unfortunate that we are not going to have this match on TV. It's just going to be unfortunate we're not going to have this match on TV. But I think that the fans will be there, and the Hasselhoff faithfuls will love to see their team picking all the 3 points. Either the game ends in a draw, or Hasselhoff may pick all the 3 points.
Right. Still on the Ghana Premier League.
Tell everybody, body, go tell everybody, bring back the loop. Say Ghana, Ghana, Ghana.
And there are still lots of interesting games to look forward to this weekend in the Ghana Premier League. There's the matter of Dreams FC playing Hoho United this weekend. And then you'd have 11 Wonders playing Midiama. Bechem United would play Samatex FC at the Nana Fosu Jiabo Park. Hearts of Lions would play Young Apostles at the Pando Stadium. Bibiani Gold Stars would take on Karela United at the Bibiani Dance Park. Birkum Chelsea play Nations FC at the Golden City Park. Basake Holy Stars will play Vision FC at the AAK, the second arena. These are some of the games to look forward to in the Ghana Premier League.
This is our own. Let's cherish our own. Ghana Premier League is back again. This is our own. Let's cherish our own. Ghana Premier League is back again.
And let me remind you, the Black Stars will be in action at 10 a.m. this morning against the Blue Samurai of Japan. We'll be building up to that game as well in a bit. But Michael, quickly, in 2 minutes, let's wrap up on the Hearts of Folk Sweden All Blacks game. Is this that weekend Hearts of Folk take advantage of newly promoted side Sweden All Blacks and pick all 3 points to regain momentum in the title chase?
Developments that have Sweden All Blacks prior to the game has actually given me the indication that maybe they are not well prepared for this match, because if you are about to play such a game and then your fans issue a statement, 7 ultimatums and threats to the coach, and then even going on board to say that as a result of their poor form, they are not able to perform in bed with their wives, it kind of give off the vibe that all is not well in camp of Sweden All Blacks. And yeah, they have been a home dominant side. They've picked 7 points in their home games played so far this season. But I think that any opponent that has gone to the Sweden Park and is credible enough actually does get something out of it. Bibiani Gold Stars went there and then they won by a goal to 0. Heart of Lions went there, they secured a 1-1 draw and picked a point in that game. The teams that Sweden All Blacks have beaten at home has to do with Baseke, Holy Stars. And Holy Stars, we've seen how they've struggled so far in this campaign. And aside Holy Stars, they've also won against, they've beaten Holy Stars. And then in their last game, they beat Brekum Chelsea also as well by 3-0. So All Blacks here are very good at home, but it's been victories against teams who are struggling so far in this season. And all the teams that are doing well went there and got something out of the encounter. And playing against the best away side in the Ghana Premier League, definitely, I know it's going to be a tall order for the All Blacks team. Hearts of Folk have a different approach when they play away. They actually solidify their back, make sure that they don't concede too many chances. But I would love to see how they cope, especially without someone like Benjamin Asare, because he's been the backbone of all their clean sheets they've recorded in their away games so far this season. Against Bechim, against Chelsea, it was a crucial part in the clean sheets that Hearts of Folk recorded. So I would love to see how they cope without Benjamin Asare. And then the whole question mark around Hussein Mohammed as to whether he is going to feature or he won't feature. He was charged by the GFA. We don't know yet if after he assaulted the fourth official in the aftermath of the Hearts Kodoko game, whether he was given a red card or they are going to ban him. So I don't know how ready he is. But trust me, if Hearts of Folk do their stuff right and then they are psychologically prepped for this game, definitely they can go to Sweden and then get the 3 maximum points against All Blacks. All Blacks are playing very good football, but I think they are a team that is easy to beat. They're a team that is easy to score against. They don't play that defensive type of football, and they are very open. Any opponent that plays them, whether home or away, will definitely get some very good chances against them. And that is why the fans are trying to rise up against the coach, because they feel that they should have some kind of defensive solidity. They don't have it. In all the games they've played, they've been very open for opponents to exploit. And I think it is a weakness in that team. And Hearts of Folk can capitalize on that vulnerability in the Sweden All Blacks team and then punish them. But I expect to see some changes in the Hearts of Folk team. And then if they're able to do that, work on their psyche, definitely beating Sweden All Blacks should not be something that is beyond them. In terms of history, they have recorded some good results at Sweden against All Blacks. There was a time where they went there and won 2-0. And then Coach Riley mentioned they were also beaten 3-1 in their last visit to the venue. So it is kind of interesting in terms of the dynamics around it. But the reality is that Hearts can put together a solid team, go to Sweden and get a very positive result.
Right, Michael. I'll get back to you in a bit on the Black Stars game. And so, you can just grab a cup of coffee. I'll be back to you in a bit. So we get into the Black Stars and what to look forward to as far as that friendly against Japan is concerned. That game would be in the next 45 minutes. And Michael, I know you have the lineups. We'll get into that in a bit. But Coach, let's finish up with the Ghana Premier League. Let me take you through a few of the games and what you think the possible outcome could be. On Sunday, November 16, Dreams FC would play Hoho United at the Tuba AstroTurf. Dreams FC are in desperate need of points. What should we expect? How would that game end?
Well, I think Dreams FC can win the game because, I mean, their last game at home, they beat Samatex. They went to Karela to pick up points, and Hoho United also struggled in their game against Nations FC. And for me, I think that Dreams FC will carry the day.
Bechem United, Samatex FC at the Nana Fosuji Abo Park.
Coach Emis's second game, I mean, his first game, he lost to Young Apostles, and Samatex has not been doing well away from home. If he had been in Samaboy, I would have told the yes. But I think that a draw, a win for Bechem United.
Right. Coach, still on the Ghana Premier League, Hearts of Lions versus Young Apostles in Pandu.
The Lions then, I mean, Young Apostles is doing well. I mean, last season they nearly went to relegation. They've really come up and they are doing very well. I mean, 14 points on the Ghana Premier League. I think they are not bad. Hearts of Lions is the consistent team in the Ghana Premier League. And I've said that if they don't win the league, I will be surprised. They have the technical team, and out of the whole setup, only 3 players left the squad in the last 2.5 seasons. So consistency is what helping them. I mean, for the Lions, then it's difficult for a team to go.
And they have Coco. Let's go to Dance Park in BBNE. Defending champions Gold Stars versus Karela United.
Karela is not doing well. Their last away game, they lost 4 to Kotoko. They went home. They couldn't win against Dreams. They picked just a point in that game. Last season, they were the only team that beat BBNE Gold Stars at the Dance Park. And for me, that game, there were a lot of issues, but they won that game. But eventually, Gold Stars won the league. They are back there again. Whether are they going to repeat or it's going to be a revenge? But I think that Gold Stars, after losing to Basaka Holy Stars away from home, will love to have their fans smile because they are yet to lose a game. It's all 3 points for BBNE Gold Stars.
Let's go to Golden City Park in Brekum. Brekum Chelsea, Nations FC.
Samabodou is struggling. He's just won only 2 games. And for me, Nations Frimpong third game. His first game against Bechem, he had a point. His second game against Koko, he also had a point. He has to take the brilliance of Emmanuel Ano in the 86th minute to get the equalizer for them. So I believe that Frimpong will go into that game. Yes, the Razak Simpson, Oko Gripman, Ivan Safo, and the rest. They have a solid team. But Samabodou at Brekum, Golden City Park, with Kosi Suruto in Milford, is going to be a tall one. I think a draw or a win for Brekum Chelsea.
Right. And finally, AAK, the second arena, Basake Holy Stars versus Vision FC.
It's going to end in a draw. Looking at Basake Holy Stars and then Vision FC, I think they don't have a different style of play. They both play on AstroTurf, and I think that both teams are going to struggle to score in this particular game. If it ends 0-0, I will not be surprised.
Right. Coach, let me say a big thank you to you for joining us on the show this morning. It's been a pleasure having you as always. And hopefully, I'm sure the Panthers are listening. So we'll see where they put their money this weekend. Coach, thank you very much for joining us on the show. And I wish you well. Have a good weekend.
Same to you.
Right. And that was Coach Ebenezer Sefa joining us preview the Ghana Premier League. And it's match day 10 this weekend. Shredo All Blacks play Hearts of Folk. Bechem United play Samatex. Brekum Chelsea take on Nations FC. BBNE Gold Stars play Karela United. Dreams FC play Hoho United. 11 Wonders take on Mediama. Hearts of Lions play Young Apostles. Basake Holy Stars play Vision FC. And the top lineup of the weekend would see Kumasi Asante Kotoko play league leaders Adriana SC. We'll be talking about the Black Stars in a bit. Because in the next 40 minutes, they should be playing against the Blue Samurai of Japan at the Toyota Stadium in Aichi, Osaka. There's still a lot to talk about on the show this morning, but let me give you this important announcement. This one is coming from MTN. MTN say, well, for those of you who really enjoyed MTN Free After One, prepare for the upgraded experience that is MTN Free After One Extra. Now, with MTN Free After One Extra, you can talk for 1 whole hour uninterrupted while paying for only the first minute of every 10 minutes you talk. This means for every 10 minutes you talk within the hour, you only pay for the first minute, and you get to talk for 60 minutes straight with no interruptions. Well, that's not all. On Saturdays, after placing your first call of the day, MTN would give you 100 megabytes of data free. So you see, now is the time to talk extra with the people you love. To subscribe to MTN Free After One Extra today, just dial *550# dial *550# and follow the prompts. And this December, what are you doing this December? Ayamga, what are you doing this December? Flyboy, what are you doing this December? Immortal, what are you doing this December? Don't tell me dirty December. We are going to Morocco in grand style. Well, Ghana may not be playing at the Africa Cup of Nations tournament, but the tournament is being hosted in the beautiful kingdom of Morocco, and it coincides with the end of year celebrations. This December, Dunia Safari and Sporty FM are bringing you closer to the games. Why don't you try something different from the usual dirty December routine? In fact, go on and dare to be different. Travel with your squad or family to watch the Africa Cup of Nations games live and explore the beautiful city of Morocco and the beautiful cities in there. Dunia Safari has an exclusive group travel package that should, get you into Morocco to see last year's AFCON finalists, Nigeria, the Super Eagles of Nigeria, and the winners, La Côte d'Ivoire. And you get the chance to also see the host nation, Morocco, as well. Use the Sporty FM promo code SPORTYFAN25 when booking to unlock a special 20% discount for a minimum of 3 people booking. Very important. Use Sporty FM promo code SPORTYFAN25 when booking to unlock a special 20% discount for a minimum of 3 people booking. Don't just hear it on Sporty FM, just make sure you get to see the games live in Morocco. Limited slots are available, so quickly get onto the website of Dunia Safari, www.duniasafari.com, www.duniasafari.com, or give them a call now, 053-808-7709, 053-808-7709. Or you can send them an email, travelduniasafari@gmail.com. Send them an email, travelduniasafari@gmail.com. You can follow them on Instagram. They are very, heavy on social media. And so you can follow them on Instagram, on Facebook, and on TikTok at Dunia Safari. Please don't forget to book using Sporty FM promo code SPORTYFAN, and let's go to Morocco and party. Talking about Morocco and talking about Dunia Safari, I have a surprise for you. Well, this morning on Sporty FM, we are joined by a woman who has made it her mission to connect Africa through the power of sports tourism. She's a business development expert and the founder and CEO of Dunia Safari. Dunia Safari is a Pan-African travel brand opening doors of international travel to young Africans in a way that's accessible, exciting, and affordable. Don't go and pay money to any Azan travel and all. We're talking about Dunia Safari. Accredited, credible, reliable, accessible. And she has been, she's seen every region in Ghana. She's actually gone to every region in Ghana. She's explored many countries. More than 20 countries globally, from United States to Seoul in South Korea. She's been everywhere. More recently, she journeyed from Ghana to Mauritania entirely by road. A true testament to her love for travel and for the continent. Today, she's championing sports tourism as a new pathway to bring Africans closer, one match, one adventure at a time. Ladies and gentlemen, joining me live on today's edition of Sporty Breakfast is the founder and CEO of Dunia Safari, Mimi Babs. Mimi Babs, good morning to you and welcome to Sporty FM.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm really happy to be here. First time in the studio. It's very bright.
Well, thank you. Thank you for joining us on the show this morning. I'm sure you've been, following the conversation on the show. You've been listening to Sport FM a lot, and you've been hearing us talk about Dunia Safari. Yeah. And to our listeners out there, I'm sure you've been hearing about Dunia Safari. Today we are going to talk about that trip to Morocco. You see, Immortal has to go to Morocco. Nathan is already there, but we'll take him back in December. Ayamga has to go to Morocco. Flyboy would go. Fidelis and I would also be in Morocco. So this December, Gary, we better go. This December, we are all going to Morocco. So, but let's start the conversation from this point. I mean, when we say sports tourism, we've been hearing sports tourism. What is sports tourism, and why is it becoming, such an important topic in Africa these days?
Yes, so maybe it's better we start from the numbers. Let's look at what the numbers tell us.
Okay.
So globally, sports tourism has become one of the the fastest growing travel segments. In 2023 alone, the sector was valued at over almost $600 billion. That's the global numbers. And this is according to the Allied Market Research, which is one of the most respected global research firms used by governments, airlines, investors. And what they do is they compile real market data with consumer buying behavior to forecast buying patterns across multiple countries. So now imagine in an African continent with a population as big as ours, 1.4 billion people, right? Mm-hmm. And we are the youngest in the world. And what do young people love? Sports, travel, adventure, etc. So basically, there's huge opportunity for Africa to leverage sports tourism as a way to drive economic growth. And we are catching up really fast. If you look at AFCON 2019 in Egypt, the tournaments brought an estimated 83 million people, $83 million in sports tourism in revenue. And this figure comes from economic assessments released by the Egyptian Ministry of Youth and Sports. Right? Mm-hmm. The tournament pushed hotel occupancy in Cairo and Alexandria by over 95% over a period of 4 weeks. Imagine Cairo and Alexandria, the biggest cities in Egypt, being filled to over 95% hotel occupancy. So we have the numbers, and the revenue also show that if we invest in sports tourism, the potential is huge. Unless you can think of one other event that brings this many Africans in the same space.
Yeah.
We can't. There's only sports. So when fans travel, whether it's to support their own country or their favorite African team, they're not just going to watch a match, right? They want to feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves. A Ghanaian can easily sit next to a Senegalese or a Moroccan on the same stadium, and within minutes, they're analyzing the players, they're celebrating together. So I think there's also a big opportunity to bring people together and have serious conversations about what it means to connect as as Africans. And also, sports in Africa gives young people a reason to travel within the continent, right? They are able to discover new food, new languages, new perspectives, and we understand each other. It really gives a platform for us to have serious dialogues that breaks the divide. So yes, the economics matter, but the movement and the unity, that's the real power of sports tourism. That no policy document, no conference, no protocol can achieve that kind of African to African connection that sports tourism brings. And also there's the business aspect. When you travel, if you're an entrepreneur, you travel to a country.
Yeah.
And you're sitting next to, you never know who you're sitting next to. You could be your potential partner, or a supplier for certain goods.
Yeah.
Or it might also open your eyes to the market opportunities there, right?
Yeah.
So basically, that's the beauty of sports tourism, and I think we need to really ride on that wave.
Right. Let me just bring it back to our space here.
Yes.
Based on the work you've done over the years, based on your research here, as Ghanaians, have we really been serious about, developing or getting into that space and making it big, the sports tourism space?
Well, I would speak about the other travel and tours within the space. It's rarely that they also organize or take advantage of these African tourism. Like last year, the AFCONs in Cote d'Ivoire, I don't remember seeing any travel agency that was really pushing for packages, selling packages, catering to the event in Abidjan.
And that was even closer.
That was even closer.
Yeah.
You know, so we are not really riding that way. We are not seeing the opportunity. And I'm hoping that with the work we are doing at Dunia Safari, we are shining a spotlight on the opportunity, because that's really the only way we can push for governments to open their airspaces. We can push for governments to reduce taxes on aviation and reduce prices for flights, you know. And then even for the countries that have high visa restrictions, we need the numbers. And the more people travel, the higher the demand goes, and that puts pressure on governments to relax their policies and make travel easier and accessible for everyone.
Yeah, because definitely eventually it's a win-win situation for everyone. Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, Ghana is not playing at this year's AFCON, okay, and but why should Ghanaians travel to Morocco? I mean, Ghana is not there, so okay. So, but why should we travel to Morocco?
Yeah, I get this question a lot. I mean, traditionally, December is a reset period for everyone, right? It's a time you want to reflect, you want to take time off, spend time with your family and friends, write your New Year's resolutions, right? So it's this routine that people take time off in December. And in fact, 35% of Ghanaians, corporate Ghanaians, take their annual leave in December. So we have the time, and I think people are looking for something new to do. 30 December every year, I mean, you want to experience something fresh.
Yeah, it's always,
right?
you know, the music, the
party,
the parked
the
places, the traffic in town and everything.
The jammed network reception, it's crazy. So, and also by the statistics from the Ghana Airport Company Limited revealed that 40% of, tourism or international flights from Kotoka increases by 40% between 15th December and the first week of January.
Wow.
So people are already traveling during this time anyway. So why not Morocco?
Yeah.
You know, and it's the easiest time to travel in Morocco. It's never been this easy. Last year, I tried to get a visa to go to Morocco. And if I tell you what I went through,
it was difficult.
It was hell. And even after going through all that, getting my documents right, submitting, going for the interview, and then, you know, submitting the documents. Once I left, I thought, you know, they were going to call me when it's ready. 2 weeks in, no call.
Wow.
I followed up. They said it's still in processing. So for Morocco to waive all these and give us they don't even call it visa anymore. It's called e-travel authorization.
Wow.
You apply online. Within 24 hours, you have your authorization letter.
And then you can just travel.
And then you can just travel.
Wow.
You know, so I think it's the most exciting time to travel to Morocco. And December also is an exciting period. There's the New Year's activities, the festivities. Any city comes alive during December. Yeah. You know, so even without the Black Stars playing, there's so much for Ghanaians to experience, and AFCON gives them that opportunity to travel. Morocco has actually the stadium they built in Rabat. They have a Guinness World Record for that, for the fastest stadium built within 2 years.
Wow.
You know, so Morocco is investing heavily in infrastructural development, because also bear in mind they're also hosting the 2030 World Cup along with Spain and Portugal. So infrastructural development, intercity connections. This is the best time to travel, and that's why I think people should take advantage of the AFCONs in Morocco to go and see.
Wow. And that's the Prince Moulay Abdallah Stadium in Rabat, and that's where Nathan captured that game between Nigeria and Gabon yesterday. So it's one of the facilities you would want to go. But, you know, Ghanaians are always, you know, crazy about their dirty December, you know, apart from the stadium you just spoke about. What other things should draw them to want to go to Morocco? What does Morocco have to offer?
You can do your dirty December in Morocco.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's actually dirty, I think, because imagine a Muslim country and all the activities that goes in the nightlife behind the scenes. It's even more exciting.
Yeah, we like it behind the scenes.
Yeah, so I mean that is the second reason. Go and experience dirty December somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then thirdly,
and make it your dirty December.
Make it your dirty December with your family, with your squad, with your friends, right?
Yeah.
And thirdly, Morocco, I've traveled quite extensively. And Morocco is one of the countries that's literally just captured my heart. The first day I arrived, literally. The people are warm, you know, there's something about their vibe. So I arrived during Ramadan earlier this year. I'm Muslim. Okay. And I was fasting, and I had to go look for food for iftar. That's the break of the fast. So I started working took a walk within the neighborhood where I was lodging, And I realized everything was closed. I mean, it's normal for Muslim countries to close their businesses when they are fasting and only open at night. But I was expecting that some cafes and food stalls would be open. So I walked into this open cafe, and I asked for the menu, and they said, "Oh, but we don't serve food here." And they explained to me that actually, most of the cafes in Morocco don't serve food. So it's like a cultural shock. Yeah, the cafes sell sandwiches and burgers and things, but it's only coffee and teas they sell in the cafes. So they realized that I needed food, and they actually invited me to break the fast with them.
Oh wow, that's nice.
Day one.
Wow.
So it's really made a big impression on me, And yeah, besides the people, the country is just beautiful. From the north, Tangier, which is actually the only country on the continent that has two seas, the Mauritanian Sea in the north, and then the Atlantic Sea on the west. So it's literally at the intersection of two seas. And down south, the countryside is just absolutely stunning. The Atlas Mountains. I'm a huge adventure nature person. I love hiking and things like that. So that's really. I don't know if your listeners like.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of them do. Like Immortal, for instance, he loves nature. He likes going hiking and all.
Camping.
Camping.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Immortal and I am. They like it a lot, and even and Yusuf as well. Yeah, he likes that. Yeah. So
there's a lot to
that's
see,
why that's why I know they do be in Morocco this December. These boys, yeah. But let me just remind listeners. I'm having a conversation with Mimi Babs. She's the CEO and founder of Dunia Safari, and I've been telling you about Dunia Safari and the plans they have for you this December. We are taking you to Morocco, so listen carefully, because we are going to give you a few tips how to actually get on board, how to join the party as we seek to take our dirty December to Morocco. So keep listening to us. But Dunia Safari, that's an interesting name.
Yeah.
How did you come by that?
So I'm Muslim and I'm Hausa, and I decided to choose a name that connects West Africa with North Africa and East Africa. Okay. So I chose Dunia. Okay. Dunia means the same thing in these in Swahili, in Hausa, in Arabic. It means world.
Okay.
Dunia.
Okay. Dunia.
Or life. Life in this world. And then Safari is a Swahilian word. Swahilian, is that even correct? Swahili word.
Yes, Swahili word. Yeah.
That means journey or to travel. So when you put them together, it means traveling around the world or journey across the world. So that's Dunia Safari. So basically, I wanted to sort of find something that would resonate in East Africa, something that will resonate in the North Africa. When they hear Dunia Safari, they immediately understand what it is, and they can easily, we can easily build rapport around that. So that is really what inspired the name.
Oh wow, I like that. Dunia Safari. Okay, Dunia. Okay, so that's actually registered. So now I know what Dunia Safari is all about. But that's one challenge for a lot of Ghanaians.
Yeah.
And that comes to traveling across Africa.
Yes.
It looks like sometimes it's cheaper to travel to Europe and other countries than travel within the continent. Why is that so? That's the first part. But I'm sure Dunia Safari has very interesting packages that wouldn't cost us a fortune.
Yes.
Take us to that as well, and how much it will cost us possibly to join you to Morocco this year. So, I just want to understand, why it's quite expensive to travel.
Yeah.
But I know definitely Dunia would have a way around it to make sure we have very affordable packages, and tell us about your package as well.
Yes, I think that's 3 in 1 question.
Yes.
So I'll start with the why question. Why travel within Africa is so expensive? There are multiple number of reasons. But one of them, yesterday I bought a ticket for a client and I looked at the taxes. So how much the airline is taking and how much is going into taxes. The airline was taking $935.
Okay.
And the taxes was over $500.
Wow.
That's almost actually more than half what the airline is costing. So taxes is killing the market because governments see travel, international flights, flying and aviation as an elite industry. Okay. Only elites travel. So until we, think about other people, the solo budget travelers and the students, we'll still be missing out on this segment of the market.
That's right.
We need to really look at the taxes. And also the second thing is, even though we've signed an international agreement, at least for Africa, to open our skies to various airlines, only a few countries are adhering to this. Mostly, you have to go around certain countries to go to a destination.
That's correct.
So we need to really liberalize the airspaces so that more we can introduce more carriers, and then with competition, the prices goes down. So that's the why. The other reason, so for Dunia Safari, we have packages for when you arrive in Morocco. If you want us to buy or get you the tickets, we are more than happy to compare prices and offer it to you.
Yeah.
But also bear in mind, December is high season, right? So the earlier you buy your ticket, the cheaper you get it, because it's only increasing by the day. Literally, it's within 1 week, it's shot up by $70.
Wow.
Yes. So if you really are serious about Morocco, I think you need to start thinking about at least getting your ticket ASAP. So basically, for us as a travel company, we manage all the activities on the ground. So upon arrival in Casablanca, the train connections to the city you're going to. So basically, Morocco is hosting AFCON in 6 cities, right? And there 6 cities, 9 stadiums. So the group games, so for instance, Nigeria is playing in Fez, all 3 first group games. Ivory Coast, the Elephants, they're playing in Marrakesh. So you have to tell us which team you want to go and support in order for us to know which travel package will be better for you. And if you want to stay for the first two group games, we have a 7-day, 6-night package. If you want to see all 3 first group games, we have a 12-day, 11-night package. So really, it's we want to customize the service to you, right? And you ask for price. The cheapest that we have at the moment is the 7-day, 6-night package to go and see the Super Eagles of Nigeria in Fez. And Fez is known as the spiritual capital of Morocco. That city is 1,200 years old.
I want to go there.
Please, please, it's stunning.
Wow.
There are over 9,000 alleys. So you could get lost. Literally, I got lost so many times. But that's the beauty of it.
Okay.
You know, you stumble upon new things. And the oldest university in the world is located there. And it was built by a woman.
Oh, I see.
You know, so there's a lot of charm to Fez, but also there's a whole different type of charm in Marrakesh. Marrakesh is the red city of Morocco. You know, that's where you have the UNESCO square, the Jama al-Fna, which is one of the most recognized market spots, Medinas in Africa. Okay. You know, and then it's just 1 hour to the Atlas Mountains. The Atlas Mountains is a range which covers from middle of Morocco all the way to the south. And that is where you can see really beautiful landscapes and you know, countryside. So it depends on what your vibe is. If for Ghanaians who don't know, you know, which package to go for, you could either tell us which team you want to go support or what your vibe is. And then we can, you know, recommend something that we think would be suitable for you. So the cheapest package, like I said, is going for 8,800 to see the Super Eagles of Nigeria. CDs, yes. Only 8,800 CDs. And like I said, it's only ground activities from arrival at Casablanca, and everything you do, the hotels, bed and daily breakfast, the tours, the logistics, the city taxis, everything that you want to do, and
including hotel and
everything.
Wow.
Yes. So
only 8,800.
So Morocco is only expensive before you arrive.
That's the flight.
But once you arrive,
it's bonus.
It is paradise for budget-friendly people.
Oh wow! Oh, and Imota, you spent close to $5,000 in Dubai alone. I'm sure you should be in a hurry to join the Morocco train. Yes. Oh wow, that's very. And what's the most expensive package?
Yes, so basically they are in tiers. We have the bronze, silver, and gold.
Right.
So bronze, you're sharing a room with someone, but it's comfortable, it's stylish, Riyadh, you know, hostel type of facility. And you can go all the way to the gold, which is, you know, private room in, I don't know, 3-star hotel. You know, you have additional benefits like the hammam. I don't know if you've heard about that.
No, I have not.
Oh Lord, you should definitely have that done when you're in Morocco. Wow. You finish and you feel like a baby. They literally exfoliate all your epidermis, you know, with their organic soaps and clays and things like that. So they give you a thorough bath. Of course, you need to strip, but you can protect your private parts. Okay. Right? Okay. And then the men would really scrub you down. When you're done, they give you a thorough massage. Hey. I tell you, when you finish, you feel this like the softest human being ever.
Wow, you get back to life.
I tell you, it's a reset. It's a physical reset. So for the gold, those that choose the gold tier, they have these additional benefits. They can even take the premium first class train from intercity to move from one city to the next. So basically, that's what we have. Yeah.
Wow. I think Ghanaians know what to expect. You've spoken about the expectations, what to expect in Morocco. You said a lot about that, and so we'll see. But for young Ghanaians who would find their way in Morocco, how does this help them grow personally and professionally? I mean, what are the opportunities in there?
Yeah, I think travel in general just grows. Like, it makes you grow professionally, personally, because you're learned to do problem solving. If you're navigating flights, you need to arrive at the gate on time. So it also gives you discipline. When you arrive in a foreign country, you don't even understand the language. You figure out how to communicate with people using sign language, or just, so it's really built your independence and autonomy as a person. This can reflect positively in your personal and professional life, right? And also, stadium is not just the stadium. Sports, when you travel for sports tourism, you'll be meeting people on the trains, in the stadiums, in the hotels, who look like you, right, within the continent. And you may start conversations around, what are you doing? You get to know each other, and that could serve as a networking opportunity for young people to potentially meet their bosses, their future bosses, or land a deal, a partnership opportunity. So I think sports tourism really helps grow people, and it allows them to start thinking bigger, beyond the confines of their country. And even on the business side, entrepreneurs, like I said, could potentially get to explore new markets for their products. And businesses that are operating in Ghana, when they go to another country and they see what's happening in those industries that they occupy in their country, they get to learn a thing or two that they can bring back to improve their own businesses. So there's a lot of upsides to traveling. And I think Morocco, actually, the timing couldn't have been better.
Yeah, timing is great with the whole Afghan vibe and everything.
Yes.
Yeah. So since you are the expert when it comes to dealing with some of these matters, maybe today you would have to give us a few tips.
Sure.
You'd have to give us a few tips. I mean, for a lot of people who may not have traveled before,
yes,
there are things they should look out for.
Yes.
How to stay safe and all of those things. A lot of people may not know exactly what to expect as to whether where they are going is safe, whether some zones are red zones and all. Just share a few safety tips with us, and possibly you give us a few experience tips as well. And for those of us who, when we travel, we don't know what to eat, we are like, these people, their food, I can't relate. We are used to our fufu and our banku and all. Just share a few tips with that, because once you have a travel expert in the house, you have to get a few, get a bit of insight in all of this. So just help us out with all of that before you go.
Yeah, I'm happy you asked this question. But first of all, let me debunk this perception or myth that, and I've heard this from other people who I have interacted with regarding Morocco. One of the things or the perceptions is that there's terrorism, and you could be kidnapped in the Sahara and ransomed and things like that. Trust me, that is not happening. That hasn't happened in Morocco.
Okay.
This year alone, within the past 10 months, Morocco has recorded 16 million tourists.
Wow.
So 60 million people went there and went back to the country safely. So there's nothing to be worried about in terms of these Islamic extremist activities, really. So other than that, I think yes, Morocco is a fascinating country. You still need to keep your things close to your chest, because you never know who. There wouldn't be any type of violent attacks. Even the civil unrest, it's usually very calm. But then I would advise people to keep their purses and their assets very close to them, because there could be some amount of pickpocketing, during crowded areas and things like that. And also, I think people need to know that Morocco is cold.
Okay.
In winter. So winter starts, I think it's starting in November this month, and then it will run till early February. So dress for winter, take your jackets, get additional layers, like clothing that would keep you warm.
Your thermals.
Yes, exactly. And also, when you go shopping in the souks and the Medina, don't be afraid to bargain. because those people are sharks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So haggle like your life depends on it, literally.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because they'll take all as much as they can. So usually the rule of thumb is start from 1/3 the price and work your way to half and stay there. If they refuse, walk away, they'll ask you to come back and take them. So that is something you need to be very aware, especially Marrakesh. Yeah.
Okay.
So that is it for safety. In terms of experience, there's so much to see in Morocco, but if I'm to limit it to just 3 core things, I'll say make sure you see the Red City of Marrakesh. Definitely a must-see or must-do. Make sure you also go to the Blue City, which is called Chefchaouen. It's an 1.5-hour drive from Fes. And then finally, the Sahara Desert is a definite must-do. You can't go to Morocco and not go to the Sahara Desert, not do the camel riding or the quad biking or the sandboarding, right? So definitely these 3 things are must-dos and must-sees. And finally, in terms of
food,
culinary, food, definitely try the tagines. So tagines are slow-cooked meals in clay pots with a cone on top of it.
Okay.
They put the meats, the sauces, the broth, the potatoes, and they leave it to cook over low heat. The result is delicious. It's one of the national delicacies. It's called tagine. So definitely try that. If you're into couscous, I'm not really a fan. You could indulge.
Yeah, I like couscous.
Okay. And then there's also something I need to mention, the mint teas.
Oh, okay.
It's delicious. You see them pouring it with
the one we call attire.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes. Okay.
So the mint teas are also a must try, and they actually offer it for free when you check into the hostels and the hotels.
Oh, okay.
It's a sign of hospitality. So when you visit any Moroccan family house, they'll always serve you tea as to gesture welcome, you know, to their space.
Right.
And also they have their maybe the 3rd meal, the Moroccan pancake. It's called musamman. It's just rich. It's made of butter, and the flavor is it's incredible. So I think these 3 foods are definitely should be on your list when you're in Morocco. Right.
So now we've spoken about everything Morocco. Now,
yes.
How do I get to subscribe to your package? How do I get on board the Dunia Safari package?
Yes. So if you already know if you already know which team you want to go and support, or you already know which city you want to be at, just visit our website, duniasafari.com, and you can pay online. And then a travel agent will get in touch with you. You have to create an account and fill in, and if you have the Spotty code,
Spotty Fan 25.
Exactly. You select that at checkout, and your 20% would be applied for you. So that is if you know what you want to go and do or which team you want to go and support. But if you don't know, because obviously Ghana is not playing, just call us and we'll ask you a few questions to know what your preferences are, because we prefer people to have fun, to enjoy themselves, rather than if you're not a sea person, we take you to the sea, you wouldn't really have a good time. So we can also customize a package to suit your preferences, and by that you can call us on the number 053-808-7709 or send us an email, traveljuniasafari@gmail.com. And yes, we're very responsive when people call us and email us.
Right. And you are present on social media as well?
Yeah, Travel Dunia Safari on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and which other ones are there? Facebook.
Facebook, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, right. So it's Travel Dunia Safari, on all social media platforms. Please. Right. Well, it's been an interesting conversation. Well, I've learned a lot about Morocco on this show today. We have to go to Morocco. There's free attire. Well, from this conversation, it shows that football is more than just a sport. It's a doorway to culture, connection, and discovery. Whether Ghana is playing at the AFCON or not, AFCON in Morocco 2025 is a chance for Ghanaians to take a break, explore a new country, and be part of Africa's biggest celebration of unity. And Dunia Safari is going to make that possible for us. So just like Mimi has said, just get onto their website, duniasafari.com, or give them a call now, 053-808-7709, or send them an email, travelduniasafari@gmail.com, and they would sort you out. We go to Morocco this year. We go to Morocco in December for our Dirty December celebrations. Let me say a big thank you to Mimi Babs. Let me say a big thank you to you for joining us on the show
Thank
this
you for
morning.
having me.
It's been interesting listening to you, and it's been interesting, having you on our show this morning. Hopefully, we'll meet in Morocco soon.
Surely.
Yes, I'll give you a call, and then you would facilitate
I'll do yours custom.
Yes, mine will be
Special.
exclusive. Yes, special. Yes, I want it to be different from Immortal's package, because Immortal would want to be seeing my things. Thank you very much, Mimi, for joining us on the show, and we wish you all the best.
All right.
Promises to be an exciting game, and we'll be bringing you live commentary at 10 a.m. Emmanuel and Dam will be seated with the commentary team in a bit. And Michael Asarabwedu is still with me on the line. And Michael will be taking us through a quick preview based on the lineup we have. Michael, quickly, let's talk about the lineup. No Benjamin Asari in post. Joseph Annan gets to start for the Black Stars. What could Otuado be thinking about? Could it possibly be because Aman Benjamin Asari didn't arrive in camp in time, or maybe they just want to see what another goalkeeper has to offer? Quickly, take me through the squad, the starting 11, and what to expect in this game against Japan. Michael, if you can hear me, kindly unmute. Okay, Michael will be joining me in a bit. And the game actually kicks off in a minute. Okay, so I'm told the start of the game has been pushed to 10:20. So kickoff is at 10:20. The Black Stars will take on Japan. Today we get to see the goalkeeper who plays for St. Patrick's Athletic.
Kudus game. Are you ready? Kudus day. Kudus day. It be Kudus game. Ghana Black Stars, we ready for anything that go come for this World Cup. No lose, no draw. We winning every single team that go come for this World Cup. We go celebrate. We be champions already. Black Stars never lose card. We go celebrate. We be champions already. Black Stars never lose card. We go jubilate. We be champions already. Black Stars never lose card. We go celebrate. We be champions already. Black Stars never lose card. Jordan, are you ready? Boys, are you ready? Squad back, Kamate. Control the back, Tariq Lamte. It's how cool you ready? Idrisu Babade. Gideon Mensah Boeche. How can you score while I caught no way? Kudus day. Kudus day. It be Kudus game. Kudus game. Are you ready? Kudus day.
So Michael Asarabwedu is on the line, and he will be taking me through the Black Stars starting 11, and he'll be talking about the key changes to the squad. And just like I said earlier, Coach Otuado has run the changes. He wants to see what other players would have to offer for the squad. Captain of the squad in this game is Antoine Semenyo. Joseph Annan would start in post. Caleb Yuenchi, Jonas Ajete Kwesisibo, Brandon Thomas Asante, Derek Atakon, Kojo Pompepra, Jerome Opoku, Francis Abu Kamal, Dean Sulemana would start for the Black Stars against the Blue Samurai of Japan.
Tariq Lamte, it's how cool you ready? Idrisu Babade, Gideon Mensah Boeche. How can you score while I caught no way? Kudus.
What to expect as far as this game is concerned. Michael, if you can hear me, welcome back.
Well, Raymond, it's great to be back.
Great. Michael, we've seen the lineup Otuado has put out there. Joseph Annan clearly would be starting in post, and that seems to be the concern of many Ghanaians. What could be the thinking behind Otuado's decision to drop Benjamin Asari for Joseph Annan in this particular game?
Well, I think in recent call-ups, he's been part of the Black Stars team, but has barely had an opportunity to be in the post for us. So, judging by circumstances that occurred prior to the game happening, Benjamin Asare arrived in camp late for Atizigi. I think that every Ghanaian has come to terms with the kind of goalkeeper that he is, and we don't need him to showcase what he has to offer. So I think if this initiative is seen as offering opportunities for players who are barely used, then I think it is in order that Joseph Annan has to start this game against Japan for the Black Stars of Ghana. It is a very tricky one because Japan is a very solid team, I must say. So being thrown into the deep end in your first game for your country, where you have to play a game like this, is kind of tricky for him. But I think that, yes, it falls in line with the approach to offer more minutes to players who are barely used in the Black Stars, and that is why he's starting. One, because Asare did not arrive in camp early, and then two, because of the three goalkeepers, he's the one that has yet to have an opportunity. And I think that is exactly what the technical team will want to do, from my understanding of how the lineup has been.
Now, he gives the opportunity to Derek Athakon to show us what he's made of. There's been a lot of talk about Derek Athakon and his ability to control that left-hand side of defense. So he's a left fullback, or he's a left-sided defender. Now, I don't know how much of his game you've watched, but who is Derek Athakon and what does he bring to this team?
I think basically he's that explosive left fullback. He has an eye for surging forward, always in a bit to contribute to offensive actions. And clearly, if you study the approach and then the shape of a Ghana team, Otuado yesterday during his pre-match press conference mentioned that he knows the Japanese team as a team that loves to play with a 5-4-1, and then they mostly set up with a 3-man central defense, and they utilize their wing backs at the left position and also the right position. And he would love to match them with what Japan throws at him. And so it is not surprising that in this game, he's also decided to adopt such a shape. IS is more of a 3-4-3. Japan is more of a 3-4-2-1. But in nutshell, if you are just putting all these structures into one piece, it is 5-4-1 for Japan and 5-4-1 for the Black Stars of Ghana. And in using Derek Athakon, what he wants to do is that if you look at Richie Duan and then Watanabe, they are basically your typical type of wingers who want to surge forward and attack. Now Ghana will also offer that threat from there because we have Athakon and then Kamadi Sulemana or Antoine Semenyo operating from the left wing, which gives us much more of options from there. And so in playing Athakon, yes, he is not your typical defensive-minded fullback. He is going to give us offensive contributions. And I think Otuado starting him in that position means that these are the requirements, what will be required of him. He needs to play offensively, he needs to give us explosiveness, and then he needs to give us directness. And that is what will be required of him. He's that kind of a player. And that is what we are likely to see from him in the game against Japan.
Michael, what have you picked up in terms of studying that lineup and the players? What have you picked up in terms of positioning, who plays where, and where could the Stars possibly have their biggest strength going into this game against Japan?
Well, the Japanese team have had consistency. This is a team that has been playing together for like 5-6 years. So they know each other very well. And they passed through a certain project by the Japanese Football Association, from the academicals, right from their university, and then even their stints in local sites in Japan. The Japanese FA established partnerships with leagues outside Japan, basically in Europe, and then predominantly in Belgium. So a lot of these players have had to have stints in Belgium, and then subsequently they were transferred to clubs in England, Spain, Germany. And so if you look through the Japanese squad carefully, only 3 of them are local-based players. But it gives if that gives you the impression that basically they don't know each other well, that is bad news. I would have to say Ghanaians. They do know each other very well. They've been playing together for a very, very long time. And if you look at the Ghana team, this basically is the first lineup like this Kwesi Sebo and Francis Abu have never played together. Again, Jerome Opoku, Kojo Opoku Pepra, and then Jonas Ajeti have never played together as a back three. The goalkeeper, Joseph Anan, has never started a game for the Black Stars of Ghana. For Brandon Thomas Asante, Antoine Semenyo, and Kamadi Sulemana, we've never had this kind of selection in the attacking areas for us. And then if you carefully look at the Black Stars team, we are missing out on our spine. In defense, the leader at the back, Alexander Chiku, is out. In the middle, Thomas Partey is out. And then in attack, Mohamed Kudus, Jordan Ayew take a chunk from the Black Stars attack. And definitely, if you carefully study it, there is an untried and an untested Black Stars team. So in terms of what I'm expecting, this is going to be a very difficult game for us. We are facing a team that plays with a lot of cohesion, a lot of chemistry. There is a lot of synergy between the players who will play for the Japanese side. And that is a different story when compared to the Black Stars team. So I expect to see maybe some sort of pattern-like play in the Black Stars, but they will be much more frustrated by the presence of the Japanese. They will not allow us to enjoy the luxury of time to be on the ball to decide on what we want to do with it. They will heckle us, they will hustle us, and they will force some mistakes from the Black Stars players. I expect a difficult first 15 minutes where the national team of Ghana will definitely struggle to put together some 5 passes and then try to play in a manner where they want to attack the Japanese according to a certain plan, because we don't have that synergy yet. We don't have that kind of chemistry yet. And that is why I think there will be problems for the team. But I expect that after 15 minutes, 20 minutes, if we've been able to handle our own against the Japanese and then we are not behind by then maybe it will bring the best out of us. But in the first 15, 20, I expect more of individual performances from the Black Stars team. And then going forward, if they're able to scale past the first hurdle that the Japanese will mount for us, then I can see us playing much more like a team. But trust me, I will not lie. The Japanese are favorites in this game by virtue of playing at their home venue, by virtue of having a very more consistent team. And then also, if you have to compare their technical team to us, they have an 11-man technical team, and they've worked together for no less than 4 years. All these coaches are from the JFA's coaching policy, and clearly they have that edge over us. They have players playing their brand of football, players understanding their methods or their ways, and it's quite different from the Black Stars. So yes, Japan are favorites. I am tipping them to win, and then the start of this game will not be easy for the Black Stars.
Now, Michael, based on the lineup Otuado has put out there, what could he be looking for in this game? Is he looking for a result, or is he just looking to see which players can come in and replace others in the event they are not available for the World Cup? Exactly what is he seeking to achieve with this squad he's put out? I
think it's kind of a mix of both. He will want to use this exercise to assess players, to see as to whether they can fit into his plan, and then also to test the strength of the Black Stars, especially the fringe players, against top quality opposition at the international level. Let's not forget, this is a Black Stars team that will not be playing at the African Cup of Nations, and that takes a lot from us because it will not give us the kind of competitive exposure that we expect. This is a team that is being built. The coaching team has not been together for even beyond 2 years, and they would have done a lot. The playing at the AFCON would have done a lot for this team. But without the AFCON, then it means we need to take opportunities like this with all seriousness and then try everything that we want to try. So I think the coaching team will want to try out a certain technical game plan against opposition like Japan and see if it works. Otuado's back three has been his ideal formation in his head, but he's not necessarily had the luxury of time and also the best of options to try out in terms of players available. And he sees this as an opportunity to try it out, especially to see if it will work at the international stage against a quality opponent like Japan. Again, the midfield selection, we are very light in that area. Otuado's experiments with Elisha Usu, Salis, Abdul, Samed have not really paid off. And so getting to try Francis Abu, he did okay in the Unity Cup when Ghana played against Nigeria and then Trinidad and Tobago. Maybe you want to try him in this game to see how far things work. It's only unfortunate that someone like Ibrahim Sulemana is not available to also contribute his bit, because I think in the Black Stars team, the closest we have to Partey is Ibrahim Sulemana in terms of potential, but he's not enjoyed that level of consistency to prove that he's actually somebody that we can rely on. But in Francis Abu, he's had some few instances to try out and justify himself, and I think he would likely want to take this exercise more seriously to prove that he also belongs among that pack. Kwesi Sebo, for all the praise that's been lavished at him for his role played in the game against Mali and then also in the previous games that we played, I don't think he's really tried and tested in the Black Stars yet. And I think opportunities like this give us a fair chance to assess him to see if he will measure up to international standards. So it is much more of a tryout for a lot of these players and also for the technical team to try a different approach. How will Ghana fare in a different formation, a different shape than a 4-3-3 or a 4-4-2 or a 4-2-3-1? In a typical 3-4-3 formation, how will the Black Stars fare against top quality opponents? And that is what I think this exercise offers the Black Stars technical team and then the players. And I don't think it will be different from the approach that they adopt in the two games we will play against Japan today and then South Korea on Tuesday.
All right. Let me quickly run listeners by the starting lineup for the Japanese. And the Japanese have in post Hayakawa Tomoki. In defense, they have Taniguchi Shogo. Watanabe Tsuyoshi is also part of the squad. Takumi Minamino is also a member of the squad. You have Duan Richu, Nakamura Kieto, Tanaka Ao. Okay, as for that one, is it Ao or Ao? Okay, well, that the Japanese will tell us about that. And then you have Ueda Ayase, Takefusa Kubo, and they have Sano Kaishu and Suzuki Junusoki. So these are the players who will be doing battle for the Japanese. Looks like a very interesting squad out there. The Blue Samurai are ready for the Kirin Challenge Cup 2025. We'll see how the Black Stars will fare in this one. Hopefully, the Black Stars can get a result in this one. Michael, your predictions. We know the Black Stars go into this one as underdogs, but could we possibly see an upset or the Japanese would resume normal service against the Stars?
Yeah, I think it's going to be business as usual. I don't think this is a game where the Black Stars play above themselves, judging by circumstances prevailing in our camp, and then we're able to upset the odds against Japan. And if you carefully study the Japanese team, they know each other very well. They also have quality as well. Nakamura has been in fine form for Stade Riem, but it's not just him. Ayasu Ueda has been a solid performer for Feyenoord in the Dutch Eredivisie, and is a crucial part of their title pursuit in the Netherlands Top Flight League. Then Takefusa Kubo, I think he's not new to fans of the La Liga due to his exploits for Real Sociedad. Takumi Minamino has been very consistent in the Monaco team, and I dare say he's one of their key attackers, and definitely he's also settled in nicely in the Japanese side. He's actually part of the project. He's a product of a project they built with the academic house. And then after he had played within the Japanese football system, they brought him to Austria with the Red Bull Academy. Liverpool paid money to get him on board. He did not really settle in England, but I think in France he's found a home and he's doing very, very well. I think in summary, Japan do really have a very good team. And let's not forget, there's a team that beat Brazil by 2-1 in the last friendly window. That was in October. And so if they are competent enough to get such results against top quality opposition, I think that it will not be a difficult task if Japan are to defeat the Black Stars of Ghana, especially in a much-changed Ghana side. So my prediction would definitely be Japan to win against Ghana. The only thing I would expect the Black Stars to do is to try and then minimize the damage that will suffer. Maybe if we don't concede too many goals, I think we can draw positives from how we perform against Japan in the games aftermath, and then we can take it into our next game against South Korea. But definitely, this is a game that I don't foresee any other result but Japan winning against Ghana.
Right. Michael, thank you very much for your time. Hopefully, we'll catch up again to do more discussions on the developing stories. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
All right. Thank you very much, Raymond.
Great. And that was Michael Asaribuedo joining us from Sporty 91.3 FM in Kumasi. Game kicks off in the next 2 minutes. And this, like I said, is the extended version of Sporty Breakfast. We are bringing you live commentary of the game between the Blue Samurai of Japan and the Black Stars of Ghana. I would quickly hand over to the commentary team, Emmanuel Andam and Samuel Anan. They would bring you live commentary of the game between the Black Stars of Ghana and the Blue Samurai of Japan.